Awesome. All right. Apologize for taking so long to set this up. Any other questions, guys?
How long have you been doing this?
As a coach?
Yeah, like how long have you been in the industry altogether?
5 to 6 years now, since I was about, since I came home. Like, I got into this through basketball. I'll tell you guys a bit more of my story as we go along, but I got into this space through my obsession with basketball and just trying to take it as far as possible. You could probably relate through your sport. Was it soccer?
Running.
Oh, my bad. And so about 5-6 years now, and I've been teaching the 4th intake of classes that I've taught now, and in full transparency, because when you own something, you're a part of something, you care the most, right? So like, how can I give an example? Like, when you work for somebody, it's different when you own a part of it, right? If you own the construction company you worked for, you'd be like, oh, we got a lot of shit we need to work on. You'd care to a different level. So fortunately and gratefully, I'm able to co-own this, Orphic Education. So if you guys have feedback, honest feedback about this whole experience, about how we can refine it and improve it, you come to me, you talk to me. Anytime, the door is always open, whether it's a message, phone call, or just pulling me aside. Like, I care a lot, and so I want to do what we can to improve the experience. That's a long way of saying 5-6 years.
How long have you been with Ben?
Ben Cant I've been with, and let's give him a shout out because we love Ben. And let's start off with.
I was going to say, you sound just like him, like he's the most knowledgeable, awesome.
Oh,
Just loves it.
he's one of the smartest human beings that I've ever met.
He's really good.
I'm gonna give you guys a resource. I love giving like resources. He hasn't, because he's really busy. He's not putting much on social media. But Ben Cant, follow him. If you want a resource he's mainly on Instagram. He's a biochemist. He's an amazing coach. He's a bodybuilding extraordinaire expert. Like if you want somebody to follow and understand nutrition better, habits better, psychology better, biochemistry better, he's a great guy to do that. Before we start though, let's stand up. Everybody pull the chairs aside. We're gonna get moving. Almost forgot. So let's get practical, right? Screw the theory for a second. All right, so you're about to coach a group who you haven't coached before. Maybe you're working with a bunch of athletes. Maybe you're just trying to warm up a group and get them all connected and just have fun, have a laugh, you know? So what do? And so I'm gonna give you guys that like right now to start. Like we're in that situation. So, all right, here's what we're gonna do. Come to the middle, let's demonstrate. We're gonna start quarter squat athletic stance, right? You know athletic stance. My job is to tap my partner's thigh or knee, okay? Your job is to tap my knee, and I want to evade it, right? I don't want to get tapped and hit. The person with the most taps on the other person wins, okay? So we'll go like half speed. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to try and move out the way, and we're going to try and tap each other's knees, okay? Let's do it right now. Let's just get moving, all right? Here we go. Perfect numbers. So count them out loud. Count them out loud. Count them out loud. Watch the chairs. We might not have insurance. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Now we're going to go clockwise. Next person. Let's go. Stay low. Count them out loud. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Next. Last one. Let's go. Nice. Last point wins. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. All right, good job. Good job, everybody. Let's chuck the chairs back.
That warmed me up.
Yeah, there we go.
Got my glutes on too.
So, if you guys never see me again, now you have a great warm-up tool that you can use for group. Let's bring it closer, bring it closer. We came so far.
Huddle up.
Come right here, right here, right here. Even closer, Andrew. All of you closer. Closer, 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 closer. We're all friends. Thank you, good, good, good. Nice. So, you guys are going to be environments one day where you're going to have to warm up a group and you might have 2 minutes, right? They don't know each other. Or maybe they do and you have not a lot of time. It's like you got some change of direction, you're staying low so you can activate the lower chain, the posterior chain, the lower limbs really well. You're going to get coordination, you're going to get a lot of mental stimulation, dopamine release and you're going to get them to laugh and have fun. You're always smiling and laughing. How good is that?
That's it.
All right. There we go.
I didn't realise how unfit I am.
Oh, it exposes you.
We're all breathing heavy.
She'll be, that's all right.
We're trying to hold it quick. I was going to run through the toilet quickly.
Yeah, all good, Tyler.
I got glute problems and that just smashed them. Just being that low.
All right. Make sure you always bring water because we'll mostly be doing something with. You got me. I drink out of glass. I just random glass things. I lose bottles.
I like it.
I just reuse that. All right. I'm actually going to wait till Tyler comes back because it's applicable to all of you. There's some of you actually missing. So the group numbers, like there's 2 females in this group. One will come intermittently. One will come when her season ends, sporting season ends. So, and there's another guy, I think. I'm forgetting. Okay. All right. Oh, good. I'll do that later then. Cool. So, the booklet you have is different from the PowerPoints I gave you. The PowerPoints and a addition. Every intake, we're trying to get better. I'm trying to refine, because I do a lot of the education content. So like, if you see like errors and stuff in here, that's my bad. But the booklet, on the other hand, was designed earlier. And so the general structure of our intake will go like this. Now we may adjust some weeks, okay? Because as we go along, we find more efficient ways to teach and structure things, okay? We're not going to read this stuff word for word. You can see kind of how our system and teaching is a bit different from others. You can just take a glance at that in your own time. But the main part I wanted to demonstrate was this, okay? And you guys will see some highlights in your booklet on the online PDF, because that's just highlighting important points that I've done. But this will be our general guide of what these next 26 weeks will look like. So it may not represent exactly this week to week, because adjusting slightly week to week, the categories and topics we cover, I may. But here's a general overview of what you guys can look forward to. About every second week, we're going to have some type of practical class where we are applying the theory from the last workshop. And you guys will see this introduction in the booklet is somewhat similar, but much more refined and upgraded in the PowerPoint that I gave you. Okay, so this I'll learn about you as we go along. Actually, I was already talking to you about some of this stuff. But I think this is a good place to start, right here. The Socrates quote that I really like, that some of you, I don't know if you've ever heard of, No citizen has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. What a disgrace it is for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength his body is capable of. So why do we start there? I think we start there because appearances do matter in this field, okay? They do, okay? But they're not everything. But who you are and what you present to the world is like a billboard to the rest of the world. It's like that's your reputation. That's the first thing people are going to judge you off, what you look like. This is a more superficial field for some people. You know, health and fitness and wellness, they typically think the superficial first. But you guys will see that it's much more layered than that, which is exciting. But this, I want to give you guys, because I come from a place where, you know, of insecurity, of weakness, of not being good enough, yet still being in this field. And there was a bit of a contradiction there. Like, I have major holes in my health and strength and physical presence that I need to address myself if I'm going to call myself a coach and be in this field. So I want to give you guys the encouragement that who you are is more important than what you look like, but what you look like is a representation of your character inside of you, okay? To transform your body is to transform your mind. And if you represent that to the world, that's inspiring to people. If that's the first thing people see is you can transform your body and mind in a very difficult, long, patient process, then that's amazing. And so something to plant a seed and think about is that how can you all establish the routine and habit of building your own body and mind so then you can be of better service to your clients and to the people and community around you. Does anyone have any comments on that? Any thoughts or any like disagreements?
No, I get it. I was thinking of that the other day.
Really?
If someone's going to want to work with you, they've got to see that you can help yourself first
Right.
to be able to help them.
It's helpful.
That image.
Yeah. It's not everything, but it's very helpful.
Yeah.
So, can we start with, can you guys actually write down, because then we can reflect on this. What do you guys actually think a personal trainer does? Like roles, responsibilities. What do you think your day-to-day is going to look like? Like let's call it 6 to 12 months from now. Let's say you guys are qualified. Like what do you think your day-to-day is going to look like? If you have a coach, you have a kind of a different understanding, probably a more of a thorough understanding. But what do you think versus what you want to look like? Your day-to-day as a PT. How much time does this take up for you? Are you working in nutrition, or are you just doing strength training?
PT online.
Yep.
You know, that's the difference. I mean, it depends on financially. Like if you're going to do personal training on site, 50, 70, 80, 100 an hour. Online coaching, different, broken down into different. Like I'm just saying financially.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it depends on what you're looking at. But
Absolutely.
so like if you would have had 40 clients at $80 a week and you got check-ins once a week, it's $15 or you know 15 minutes. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Absolutely.
yeah. So you've turned in $70 an hour, and now all of a sudden it's $400 an hour online.
That's perfect, Andrew, because that's where we're going to go. Like that's something that I really want to talk about. That like you guys can make. Look, when you say PT, right? I'm doing a Cert 3 and 4 course. How do people respond? Like honestly, how do people respond when you told them you would? Let me go one by one. When you told your family, friends, like what was the general reception?
Oh, my missus is just sick of me trying something new every year. She's just like, this is your last chance. She's like, put your heart and soul into it, but after this, you're going back to what you studied.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, she was like half supportive, half not, I guess. But, and then mum and dad were like, good on you, if you think you're going to be passionate about it.
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Awesome.
Sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know if that really answered your question.
No, I just want your perspective,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Andrew? You're in a different situation. You have a family. You already have a job.
Yeah, I've already been working. Like, by the way, 20 odd years in one side, so I'm already, pretty qualified. But help out people in the background and write programs, help people out, just obviously because of being coached, you know what I mean? So I've been sort of floating around in it for a while. People have been saying this for a long time, you should be doing this, but I've just never done it because it won't make the money, it's too much hassle, don't have the time, making excuse after excuse.
Yeah.
Speaking to Ben, he's like, you need to do this. You really need to push yourself. It's the passion. I love helping people. That's what I want to do. So for me, I think it's more the financial change. Like, yourself, once you earn X amount of money, you get used to that lifestyle. You deck yourself out, your house, your cars, blah, blah, blah. So the changeover for me would be more financially rather than, I don't want to be in sprinklers and construction. I'd rather be helping people personally.
Yeah.
The same way I've benefited from 5 to 6 years ago changing.
Yeah.
I was starting riding before then and changed over to this, changed my life. I was in a rut, down, out, alcoholic, you know what I mean? So gym changed my life.
Yeah.
I want to be able to help other people.
That's amazing.
So,
Good for you, Andrew.
So, yeah.
All right.
Most of my family is really on board with it. It's been probably a long time for me to get around to actually doing it.
Yep.
I did commerce, banking, finance, kind of as my degree out of uni. Did that for 6.5 years, and 4 years in, hated it. Still did it for another 2.5 because didn't know what else to do. And then quit a couple of months ago and feel a lot better now than what I did then. So, yeah, my family's on board with it, which is great. And for me, it's going to be predominantly online based.
Mm-hmm.
I know it might be a half an hour check-in with somebody, but that's actually a couple of hours work per person each week. That's kind of the way that I'm seeing it.
Yep.
So yeah, for me, it's about setting up my future and my family's future.
Absolutely.
In that sense.
Awesome. That's really good to know. I'm kind of getting a consistent vibe. But the day-to-day of a PT, like, what do you think? I know I should ask, like, all of you again. So basically, the two questions: day-to-day of a PT, and what the general reception was from family, friends, people close to you. Day-to-day.
So day-to-day is, in terms of what I'm looking at, programming
Yep.
people, onboarding people,
Nice.
Maintenance of existing clients, and check-ins with them. So that's kind of my day-to-day. Which
Cool.
is obviously reviewing their nutrition, their training, their stress levels, like everything over the board to try and make sure that they're getting the best out of the program that I'm offering.
Awesome.
I want it to be want it to be a premium offering, so it's not the same as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And
Alright.
then study in between.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you're always learning, aren't you? So,
Absolutely. It's why you guys are here.
injuries, you don't know.
Yeah, like
Study,
some of the-
look it up. If not, call yourself a friend, whatever.
Yeah. It's a great opportunity for education and actual personal development as well, not just physical.
I've got a fairly diverse mix of people that I see, so it depends on who I'm seeing. Like my more business-minded friends are kind of a bit skeptical and think, why would you do that? Family and friends are pretty supportive and think it's the right move for me, so
Good.
that's why I feel supported. I've put pretty basic stuff like you'll train your clients, you'll do your schedules and programming, client reviews, marketing and social media, and then for me, research, because I always like to provide people with information on new or different ways that they can do things.
That's a great one. That's probably one we don't think about as much. One that goes on in the background. It's like you don't really charge your time for all the like you're gonna up front to end up coaching people. You're gonna spend thousands of hours, right? Those thousands of hours you've spent and thousands of dollars warrants you to charge X amount of money. For example, coaches who've been in the industry for 5, 10 plus years might have a $200 to $500 per hour rate. Okay, it's like, man, that's a lot of money, but it's more than some doctors, right? Yeah, it is. But how they got there, it's like you remember, like when we think about pricing ourselves, which is a later conversation, but I want you to consider that type of stuff too. Like the time you put into research every day. How many hours of like hundreds of hours of research papers and articles and videos and podcasts do you end up learning and taking the time to learn to help yourself become a better coach. So that's a really good one. Tyler, what do you got?
On a day that, like just coming in and helping people achieve whatever it is they want to achieve, no matter where they've started. Whether it could be with strength or anything like that. Sort of what you said as well. Doing like your social media and all that kind of stuff as well.
What do you think? Do you have a preference of type of client, type of service? Do you want to do more one-on-ones, groups, commercial, private sector, or you're not sure yet?
I'm not 100% sure yet. I would sort of like to get into a sort of like a sporting club as well.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be fun. I've sort of grown up doing a lot of different sports and team sports. So I think that'd be something.
Okay. What did your family and friends say when you told them that you were going to do this?
Sort of been something I've always wanted to do. My old man's also a personal trainer who owns a gym as well.
Is he?
Yeah.
So he owns a gym now?
Yeah.
What does he own now? Do we know
It's
it?
called Elite Fitness. It's over in Kuwait.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Nice.
that's also another goal of mine. To hopefully go there once I've sort of started everything out.
What a great opportunity.
Kuwait.
Oh, Kuwait, yeah.
Middle East.
Oh, yeah, I thought that's what you said. I was thinking it was a suburb.
Oh wait, still in Melbourne.
Cool. I love that.
There this morning.
He just flew over.
Quick trip over,
Yeah. Is he living there now?
I used to live in here.
Nice. So have you been over there to see the facility he's got? I'm
Yeah.
sure you have.
Yeah, it's very nice.
So wait, you're saying that aeroplane too, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
There you go. Last one.
I think the big one for me is communicating and connect with the clients. So your interpersonal skills are quite important, and understanding why they choose to come to see you, and make sure that you understand their behaviour, so that make sure that they adhere to your program. It's most important, because you can send them the program, but then you don't understand why they do it. They'll end up giving up in 2 weeks.
That's so important.
Making it enjoyable.
Yeah. That's I'm really glad to hear that. I'm hearing a diverse answers here, and we're gonna. That's so. You guys have no like. It's important. I think you guys understand. Like, yeah, like adherence is important, but it's like the thing. It's like the pyramid. Like nutrition, training, sleep. No. Put all that in the bin, because if you're not adherent, if you don't do the thing consistently, it doesn't matter how perfect the program is. It's not getting done. So, for example, like a recent client of mine. We were having trouble with, when he comes up, he turns up, he's committed, right? He's a general population client, he's a dad, he's a father, business owner, pretty successful, but very busy. So we're having trouble committing to 2 sessions, 2 hours a week, okay? So he's great when he sees me, but he's not when he's not seeing me. So my program's great, but he's not doing it. So now as a coach, like I have to have strategies in place to what was the word?
motivated.
Not even. I get that word, but I want you guys to not so much think motivate, because motivate is like a spark. It's temporary, right? But I get it, because it's very mainstream, that word, motivate.
It's almost like a check-in point with him, so that he knows that you're there for him, as opposed to being like on his back,
So how do you
saying
do
that
it
he has to do it.
How do you do it without messaging them every day?
Ah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
This is the thing.
I got you.
I think, it's a very hard industry to do that. It's mindset, straight away with the client, and their priorities, but how do you change that? As you say, like when you're with them, you're like, yeah, motivated, bang, and as soon as they go home, it's like, oh, fuck it, makers.
Right, right.
But it's the world we live in though, like if you think about it, you can go to like Starbucks and pay an extra buck to have a starving kid in Africa not starve anymore. So like we live in this society where I think part of the problem is that psychologically we are geared to just pay for the thing we want and not have to work for it.
Yeah.
So finding someone like your guy who's got a very busy life, I'd imagine it's getting to the bottom of why those 2 hours can't be prioritised on top of something else.
Yes.
And that'll probably be a deeper psychological thing for him. So.
Yeah.
You're so spot on in that Ben will give you textbooks or actually books to read that'll help you understand certain things, and and I think that for me is change of priorities, and I'm starting to understand, but like Atomic Habits and stuff like that is just got to be a key book for everybody. know, to understand it. And small things that change instead of one big thing. It just doesn't happen straight away. But to do 1%, they all add up. And that's the thing. We sit here and go, nah, if it's not done tomorrow, well, fuck, it's not going to work. Or slow, you know, 1 minute one day, 2 minutes the next day, 3
Exactly.
minutes the next day. And before you know it, it's an automatic habit. And life goes on. You know, the rest is history. But trying to get the people to that point is the hardest because, yeah, I mean, the fitness industry is not exactly easy, is it? Going to lift weights every single day when you can't be bothered or whatever, getting up to do it, trying to convince, like we can't even be bothered doing it. How do we convince the clients to do that?
Right. And that's the thing. We don't want to convince. Don't try and convince people. You need to identify what is important. There's multiple layers to it. But Andrew, I feel like you should be up here talking as well, or like talk because you have an understanding of habit. No, it's great. The habit formation. Like if there's one resource, Andrew just mentioned it. I want you all to write down Atomic Habits. If there's one book, audiobook and resource, I want you all to buy by the end of today. Please make it that one. This is not just going to help you form and establish your own habits. Yeah, it is.
It is 100%.
It's going to help you understand human behavior and how to change and mold habits and keep people adherent. A lot of the strategies in there, I wanted to show you. I just want to be fully transparent and actually show you guys what I communicated to Paul, one of my clients, so I can show you a strategy I actually used from there.
Another book like that's interesting in terms of how you interact with people is How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
Sounds really odd in terms of the
Didn't
title.
you write it in the 30s or something?
Yeah, well, it's a 100-year-old book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very old. It's great.
But how to win friends and influence people. Like
Dale Carnegie.
yeah, it's all the things he talks about are very simple in terms of to do it, but to actually implement them
Yeah.
without it seeming fake,
Yeah.
you have to just keep doing it, and then it just becomes habit.
It's just a book on conscientiousness, really,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. And how you interact with other people.
Yeah.
And then how they interact with you, what that actually means is going on inside of their head.
Yeah. Yeah, people want to feel important. That's
Yeah.
what I
Do.
And you just got to find a way to sort of make them important.
One way is to make them feel heard.
Yeah.
2 ears and 1 mouth. Now I'm up here doing a lot of talking, so I recognize that can be contradictory in this position. But when you're working with friends, family, people you care about, people just often want to be heard. They want to feel like someone understands them. And you're going to work with a lot of people. Everybody's going to want an aspect of that when you work with them. So keep in mind, some of your sessions, the people you work with, will be a bit like psychological therapy for some people. Yeah, counseling.
All my sessions are.
Yeah?
All my PTs, all the PTs I've had, we end up having, it's more like a counselling session. You know, it's like going to get myotherapy. I end up, she knows more about my life than my actual counsellor, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's what it is, it just becomes personal. You're having a bad day and it's, yeah, I don't know if I'm just a weird open
No,
unit
I
or not,
can
but
relate
yeah,
sometimes.
like all the guys I've just built really good relationships with, you know? And I think that's the whole point. I think that's where I'd want to be as well. I don't just want to be a coach and say, do 20. I want to know everything, what's going on, so I can understand your stress levels and where you're at, where your head's at. You know, not just going through a graphic, trying to work out each week, oh, something's happened to you. Weight's down, sleep's down, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, why is that?
What's really going on in the notes?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I want to understand, well, hold on. He's had a bad week at work, arguing with the missus. Yeah, okay, he's stressful night, so stress levels are up. Sleep's down. You know, I think it's understanding the client in all aspects, not just how they're struggling to do, you know, the training or adapt, you know, but their life. I think that's, personally, I think that's what makes a good trainer, yeah.
Well said. Anybody else got any other thoughts on that? I think I really like this conversation. I feel like we could get into so many tangents. I want to be cautious of that because it's so important. And like, we haven't even got into critical thinking, but let's go practical. Let's give something that's actual practical. So what I sent to Paul was actually a snippet from Atomic Habits. Okay, he was struggling to perform a certain habit of training 2 times a week. What do we do? Okay, adherence is a problem. Maybe you're struggling. Is anybody struggling with implementing their own habits right now? Like something that's, all right, talk to me, guys. What do you got?
I don't know. I'd say I kind
Agreed.
And yeah, so for me, it's like when my mental health is a bit off, then my training goes out the window. So
Mhm.
I'm not one of those people that uses the gym as a way to take out aggression. Quite the opposite. So therefore, I don't have that component. I don't go into the gym to relieve stress. It's actually the other way for me. I kind of go in there to enjoy myself.
Mm.
So if my mental health is a bit out of whack, then that takes a beating.
So then, is there a certain habit that you're trying to implement around that?
Yeah, for me, I know when I need help, so I go and get a trainer. So I worked with an amazing trainer for a couple of years. Coral was her name. She's moved. So I since asked her who she would recommend, and then found another trainer. And I'm pretty upfront with them. I'll go and say to them, like, look, I'm pretty okay with the movements and how it works. Really, what I need is some help with systematising how I get back in here regularly, and make it more about that.
Yeah.
So that's what I need. That's why I seek out a coach. I need someone who can make me accountable to someone other than me, because sometimes when my mental health is bad, I'm not worth being accountable to.
That's a really good word, accountable. That's another thing you guys will facilitate. People will pay you. I have one client who she'll send me 3-4 times a week, a lot of money, a good amount of money, I should say, not a lot of money, a good amount of money, right? You think, what? You don't need to pay me. You don't, because I could write you the program for much cheaper and you could do it on your own. What's she paying for though? Like you said it. The accountability that she knows this block of time is hers. And your clients are not just paying you to train them. Please don't think that. It's not just a result they're looking for, it's they're investing in someone to be accountable to. You have to communicate that to your clients. Hey, look, this is $100, $200, or $50. That might be a bit of money for you right now, but it's not just the program or the actual hour. It's that if you don't have someone to be accountable to, you're not going to start the habit. Look at what's been going on the last couple of years. You haven't done anything. So now you need a system of accountability. Tyler, you were going to say a habit you were working on. But okay, anybody else got any other habits they're trying to work on?
Mine's getting back to actually running every second day.
Yep.
Towards doing something every day in terms of exercise.
Yep.
Because I go for a run 3 or 4 times a week, but it's so sporadic. So now
It's when you feel like it. It's when you have time. When you just whenever.
more of like, oh yeah, I actually feel alright. I'll go for a run.
Okay.
So then when I'm not feeling alright, it's like, nah, let's not worry about that today. And I hadn't arranged my programming so that it was actually towards something. And now it's 21 weeks until Melbourne Marathon, as of Sunday just gone. And I'm like, sit down, write the whole program out, schedule it, and go every second day. I'm running. And I just have to get it done. Doesn't matter how tired I am, how fatigued I am, just make sure that I go and run.
I've got a board at home, I do that. And it's the days that I'm the tightest, they're the days, like if I'm feeling good, I'll make a point to maybe not do gym that day. The days I'm not feeling good, they're like, you've got to go. And sometimes they're the best sessions ever.
And
so weird.
For me, it's literally like the point where I put my shoes on, it's done. Like, I'm gone. Like, as in, it's get the clothes on, put your shoes on, and it's like, alright, I'll see how I go for the first couple of days. Get into it, and it's like, yeah, I'm fine.
You're the best. And
Like,
you feel awesome after.
Yeah.
The run's the easy part. Getting the shoes on is the hardest part.
It's
That's real.
It's getting your head into it to be like, I'm going for a run.
Right.
Mental barriers.
That's
Absolutely.
That's exactly what it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Anybody else? Do you have one? Do you have a habit you're trying to work on? Not you, Andrew. Sorry.
I'm going for the same thing as well, but what I do is I put a piece of equipment in each room, so then subconsciously it reminds me
Nice.
to try.
It's awesome.
That's good one.
You're way more optimistic. I'm going to go, fuck you.
It's so funny that mindset changes through COVID. Like so many people weren't allowed to leave in their apartments. It's hard to get motivated. You know, you go to gyms to do stuff on your apartment, and bunch of Ben actually said the same thing. He said, well, look, well, you got to change something in your head. So whether it's put on the gym gear, the Ben stuff that you maybe done, or changing music, or doing the slam, just fucking couch upside down. So do it. It's okay. You put the headphones on. It's good, yeah.
Some of you may have seen this. It just made me think of it when you told me you put equipment in your room. This is how you guys are hacking your behaviors. I think this is really such like, maybe it's hard to see, but I think this is really stuff where we should start with, like behavior. Cue, craving, response, reward. That's how behaviors work. All right, this is not me. This is psychology, atomic habits, and classical conditioning, operant conditioning, basic psychological principles. So you're cued by the piece of equipment in your room to do the behavior. But after you get cued, this is water. It cues me to drink. The craving is I want to drink. The response is, the reward is I feel my thirst is quenched. This is big with food. A lot of you may struggle, no, some of you may have struggled with certain food, poor food choices, food habits. You may know people. You need to look at this. A lot of people fuck up. Guess which people fuck up the most? They can control the most. If you control one of these, then it makes everything else easier. What is it? Which one? This is the will. You could control the response, but that takes a lot of willpower, right? That's like hard. It's like climbing uphill.
Remove the cue.
Bingo. It's the motherfucking cue. This is what the world will sell you on. They'll sell you on, you have to be more disciplined. You have to work harder. I say, you should work smarter. Honestly, at some point, it becomes easy to work hard, okay? Like, if we're getting on treadmills, and we're gonna say, let's run till you stop. Someone's getting off first. Someone's gonna die first, right? We can do that now. That's gotta be fun. For my crazy ass, but the cue is really the magic, where the magic happens. You cue yourself when you put the equipment in the room. You cue, I don't know how you position your room. Let's say you cue the shoes outside of your bedroom in the morning. So you're cued, you get the shoes, you got the socks, you got the shorts, you got the t-shirt. You're ready to go. If that's not out there, you're not cued. One of the first things I do before I train in the morning is I put on my training gear first, okay? Then I go through my routine, then I'm out of the door. I don't do anything else in my training gear. Like my compression, that clothing is associated with a certain behavior of training, okay? Let's say you have poor food habits. A lot of people's poor food habits is because their environment is not conducive to healthy habits. Their environment is shit, okay? Their environment is laden with triggering them to do poor behaviors. Has anyone had that experience? Talk to me.
Uber Eats during COVID.
Ooh. You see that little U button on the home screen? It's just, it's tempting you.
I have to actually search for it now because I have no idea where it is.
No shit.
What food do you order on there?
Anything and everything.
You don't do Uber?
Fuck yeah, absolutely.
I was curious. Why'd you ask what food you order?
It depends, because, okay, so if I'm Saturday night and I've had a few beers, dirty pizza instantly.
Got it.
No drinking or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm Nando's, just chicken rice stuff.
Yeah, simple.
Technically, it's not a bad thing. So I answer to that is don't fucking drink.
That's why I was kind of
You know what
tempted to
I mean?
say response.
Yeah,
'cause
no.
Cue, like I mean, like cues can be intentional. You set your own cues, but they can also be temptations around you. So in which case your response would be more important than the cue, wouldn't it?
But if you remove or manage the cue, you never have to initiate any effort in the response.
So the cue that we changed in that was we went to either your meal prep, so you actually have meals already there, ready to go,
Yeah.
or we just went to ordering like fusions. So it comes pre-made, don't have to worry about cooking, it's just in the fridge. So therefore, you get hungry, you go to the fridge, and there's food there, rather than being like, I have to spend half an hour cooking.
Yeah.
I'll just sit here on the couch and order something.
Yeah. So
What
you
are
take
your
that
perfect
little part
example?
of it to
Yeah,
modify
so you just
the
change
behaviour.
the cue.
The funniest part is, it takes 40 plus minutes to get that food. You could have cooked whatever you wanted to.
That's so true. That's so true.
Like
There's that effort, bro,
Sunday
at the
morning's my
couch.
ritual. I get up and I cook all my. So I've just got a massive pot of chicken, mince, and it's just like first 2 hours is just bang bang bang, then everything's in the freezer. But if I'm feeling lazy and can't be fucked, I'll ring up Nando's and still get it. But I've got chicken and rice in now. Just being lazy, it's like fuck it.
So you
Wait 40 minutes for it.
So Andrew, you said Sunday?
Sunday.
Every Sunday you have a block of time where you pretty your meal prep.
I'm structured all the way through my weeks. It's like a calendar.
Yep.
It's fucking ridiculous.
No, same. That's awesome.
That's the way I've got to do it.
Yep.
Like I mentally will just freak out. Like this is the way it has to be. Sunday mornings is the same. It's my one day where I've got to. It's my only day off work, so that's the day I've got to get everything done. The washing, the cooking, blah 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 blah. So yeah, first thing in the morning, that's what I do. I get up and do my tracker for Ben, do my times for the boss.
You set your week is successful because of that block of time you've dedicated.
Yep.
That 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, if that didn't happen, your week would just be gluttony and cravings.
Everything else.
Right. You'd be ordering out, you'd be more stressed. So we can see and think about this for yourself, for future clients, how do we establish habits and routine? All right. Andrew has established what we call a pre-implementation intention. Okay? This is very simply a predetermined block of time you have dedicated to do something. You know what you're doing, when you're doing it, and where you're doing it, and what you're doing it after. So here's an example. Actually, they've done research on this, and where is it? Let me show you. Well, let me explain it first. Very simple. Andrew will meal prep at whatever time, 10 a.m., in his kitchen, and then even more so after he's done something else, okay? So then you stack it with another habit. Awesome. I was explaining this to my client. This habit will not start with him training 2 hours a week unless he blocks out the time, because you're always going to find, you're always going to find something else to do. No, I don't feel like it. Emotions and feelings are not what we're talking about here. Like, they're important, but if we need to get something that's important done, we need to make a commitment. Every Saturday, you guys are going to be here. You have committed to this 3-hour block of time. Sorry, I'm busy at 12. There's nothing else that can disrupt this commitment you've made. You've made a commitment right now. So you guys know you can do it. You know you can do it with your clients. So I gave him this. And that's where we started trying to adopt and build this habit out. I'll copy this in our group, so I'll send this as a resource. And, I have to follow up with him with his success on it. I could probably look at his program now, and he may not have done a great job at it. And so then we need to pull it back even further. And so how I would do that, just so I can get you guys teaching you how I think about these things, what happens if the client doesn't do the thing even after that? I'm pulling out from a great book like Atomic Habits. Surely it's going to work. No. It's not really working. I'd pull it back even further, and we go, instead of 2 1-hour sessions, Paul, I need you to do, and we talked about this earlier, I want you to do 5 to 10 minutes of the first movement of one program shortly after you wake up. 5 to 10 minutes. Let's make the win super easy. Maybe some of you are struggling with that, right? Like, let's make the win super easy. Doesn't matter how far you run. Technically, it does. You marathon prep. Okay, it's probably good that you run a moderate to long distance.
At the moment, it doesn't matter.
Hey?
At the moment, for the next couple of weeks, it doesn't matter.
Because
Doing it.
yes, awesome.
Get the habit done. And then after that, then you just ramp up.
Perfect. So I want you guys to think about that. You're going to want to do a lot of stuff with yourself or your clients. You're going to oh man, we can do this, we can do nutrition, we can do training. It's like, how about this? You may be dealing with an overweight client, or maybe you know somebody who's overweight. It's like, all right, I want you to walk up and down the street once. Like, let's win there. Let's create a little small win first. Like, oh, you want a meal plan, or you want to weigh yourself every day, and then you want to lose 5 kilos in 5 weeks. Like, hold on, stop. Let's lose 1 kilo first. Let's strip it back. Start small, 1% changes before we get. But otherwise, you could overwhelm people very easily.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's the atomic habits where the guy says, want you to go to the gym, jump on the treadmill for 1 minute and then leave, done.
Yeah.
Next day too. And by the time he gets there, it's like, well, fuck it, I'm here, I might as well do it.
Exactly. And then you end up doing it a little more.
Yeah.
Use the toilet, aren't we?
Oh, good.
That's the same thing. It's by the time you get to the gym and walk through the door,
You're not going to
You
leave
go-
straight away, are you?
I'll just do the whole.
That's it.
I'm here. Where it's getting there. That's the bit.
See, that's not my problem. My problem is I can always go to the gym. I'm pretty consistent, I'm lucky, but my energy levels when I'm in the gym, and it always comes back to my sleep.
Yeah.
I have a pretty shit sleeping cycle, as in, I'll sleep at night, but I'll fucking sleep at 2 because me and the missus are watching a movie and I've got work at fucking 8. You know what I mean? Stupid shit like that. But I'll still go to the gym. I'm always at the gym, but it's just when I'm there, am I getting the best out of it? You know what I mean?
So I'd work on like Murad, like you know your win, like you're going to turn up.
Yeah, I always turn up, no matter what.
That's not the problem.
Yeah.
The 24 hours before is the problem.
Yeah. So I started this new thing now, where I'm like, 11 o'clock you're in bed. It worked for 3 days, and the last 4 days it's been fucked again. So.
Okay, so then,
At least I did it for 3 days, I guess. So I'm sort of working on it.
so when it did screw up, what happened?
Oh, good question. Saw a mate that I haven't seen in like 6 months, and I said it's worth staying till midnight.
Okay,
That's what it was.
that might be an outlier.
Yeah.
What are about the other two? And observe what I'm listening to, guys. This is how I would this is how I would coach you.
No.
These are the questions I would ask you.
Alright, let me think. Friday night. Yeah, okay, this one's a bit, doesn't always happen as well. My sister had a deb, so I got back home very, very late as well.
Shed what?
She had a debutant. whatever
Okay,
you call it.
yeah.
And then the other one, the last one, what was I doing? No, yeah, I can't remember.
Okay. So look, this may be an outlier. I'm not seeing a pattern here.
Yeah,
It may just be
yeah,
outlier
true.
behaviors.
It's not like I'm watching a movie or something. this
Right.
time, where I had the option to go to bed, but I didn't, I guess. So it could just be a few days,
Could be.
just a busy schedule.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But I would encourage you guys to establish boundaries. Every man, there's all men in this room, like I say particularly men, because men can get walked over quite easily when they let themselves. Every man needs boundaries. Not to say women don't, women need boundaries too. But I think it's important to make exceptions to your boundaries at times. But if that kept happening, I'd be like, okay, we need to establish a boundary.
Yeah.
Murad doesn't allow himself to do more than one social occasion event after 7 p.m. more than once per week. You know, finding something like that where it worked for you. So then you could win the next day. Because that's how you win the next day, once you're in bed at a certain time. Now guys, I love this stuff. This stuff is super practical behavior, adherence, habits. Like, I think that we're going to cover more of that as we go along. But let's keep going, okay? Very briefly, here's some of the stuff that you guys will ideally need a foundational understanding of, okay? Anatomy, physiology, basic nutrition science, exercise science principles. How do we set goals? Like, how do we establish and figure out like the goals that you guys? Anybody short-sighted here without glasses in the back? Tyler, I saw you look.
I don't know if it's the light or maybe just my eyes. I don't know.
It took me years to figure out I was short-sighted in school. Oh, how did I just do that?
Did you hit R?
I did control.
It's like a rotate function.
I did.
Just right click and you should be able to rotate anti-clockwise.
Oh, good look. Yeah, good man. Thank you. Cool. Cool.
That's it.
This you're gonna know, like, how do we establish goals with our clients? This is like a look into the future. Motivate and encourage, yes, that's important when you see them. Like, that's really important when you see them. But you want to set up systems in place so they don't have to always feel motivated, where they can have systems of accountability for themselves. Okay. I'm fine with that. Oh, this? I don't know the source of this, but this is somewhat real. Like this is, whether it's 6 months or 9 months or 12 months, the life of PT is quite short. Okay, so when you introduce yourself, hey, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a coach, I'm a strength and conditioning coach, I'm a health coach, whatever. There is stigmas and stereotypes associated with it. People don't associate that you might make 6 figures or more than, an established person with a degree or master's. There's not an automatic respect of this field. And so knowing that, we need to do a better job, and I need to do a better job by making sure we raise to a higher standard. If you want to be respected more, we need to exemplify a higher standard. There's a reason this is so low. PTs are in and out. They do Cert 3 and 4. Some don't even finish. You know how many people don't even finish a Cert 3, 4? And it's okay if you choose to, but if it's done because, laziness, or you can't figure out how you can actually make a lot of money and help a lot of people, well, I'm going to show you how you can. So hopefully this isn't you guys unless you choose it to be and you realize it's not for you. But just so you know, the life, longevity of a PT is low, but not of our PTs. And I'm going to show you why.
I heard that, and that was my biggest fear of getting started.
Really?
I heard that, and I've seen it as well. I don't want to be one of those ones, so I have to think about it a bit at the start. I'm like, just don't fucking be it then. That's it.
Look at that. Just don't be it.
Yeah. I think a lot of that comes down to what people expect it to be, and then what it is. I think a lot of people see personal trainers as people that work in the gym in the mornings, at nights, and they do this split shift, and that's their life. I think now that's changed a lot, especially since in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's now a lot more acceptable to have it online as well as have in-person stuff.
Totally.
That's why that figure's so blown out, is because it's based on more of the people working in gyms employed as a personal trainer. In that sense, might be why it's 6 months.
I think that's a logical theory that definitely could explain that, because the integration of the online and in person is really the answer for almost everybody here, and I'll explain why. Like, not just for money, but for results, for effectiveness. Not everything you do needs to be in person. We've glorified in-person services. I used to spend a lot of my time coaching people in person, all the way from working for free to making $12 a session to now making whatever I make now. Actually, it doesn't matter. Like 119 is my figure now, okay? Our coaches is 400, okay? So there's levels. Tim, you got to say, you want to? This is Tim, the owner. And he's not going to interrupt. You good? You want to talk?
I'll talk in a sec. I'll just check this. This got dropped off this morning.
Oh, perfect.
Right.
I forgot to grab it.
Oh, nice. Because I was picking up.
Extras.
Like there's 10 people, right? And I'm like, there's not 10 packets here.
No, there's more up here. Sweet.
Okay.
This is for you guys. I'll give it to you guys once we're done.
There's a thing. Nothing.
I'll take the bag.
Alright, cool.
Sweet.
Alright, now, how's your day looking in terms of time? How much time do I have? Do I have 10 minutes, 20 minutes?
You got 10 to 15 minutes.
10 to 15 minutes. Well, alright. First thing, let's introduce ourselves. I'll go around the room. I'll get to know all your names. And I'll tell you more about myself, the business, my journey, and what we can do for you guys.
So I think... Oh, sorry. I'm introducing Tim because, he's done it. How many years have you been in the game?
Alright, so yeah, this is my 16th year in the industry. So I started as a gym instructor,
Cool.
which basically hardly exists now. So I was an employee, and I had to take new member consults to do their programs and to do their program shows. That was normally done over 2 appointments. I had to make sure the gym equipment was clean. I had to walk the floor and make sure everyone was doing their technique right and assist, and make sure toilets are clean and everything. It was like the ground zero job, right? And after 6 months, the management decided that they didn't want to have a rental structure anymore. They wanted to have they didn't want to have an employee structure anymore. They wanted to have the IBO structure. So we pay rent, run your own business. Now, I jumped at that chance because I knew I could make more money. And I've been business minded since I was in my teens. You know, I did small business management in VCE. I was a freelance web designer from like 15 years old. And so what I did was, I think we walked in at the right time because you were talking about giving free time and stuff. So it was a very modest contract at the start. It was like $110 a week rent, first 3 months free. So I'm like, okay, how am I gonna get clients? I'll do a complimentary session because I know if they do a session with me, I can sell them after. So I do the complimentary session and maybe ask some questions about their goals and what they want to achieve, what body parts they want to wear, and then I run through the session. What I did, which I don't do, is sometimes I just smash the fuck out of people's legs. And then they couldn't walk for a week and I wondered why they didn't come back or sign up. But I'd ask 3 yes questions. It was like, did you enjoy today's session? Can you see the benefits of personal training? Can you see how much harder, you know, you can train with the guidance of a professional rather than by yourself? And it's like, yes, yes, yes. Okay, would you like to talk about further PT? And then I booked the consult on my own business, obviously. So my first 20 clients, or my first 20 sessions, were gained just via that system, complimentary sessions. And then after that, I got referrals. So there's a saying that the more you learn, the more you earn, right? And from day one, like I think I bought my first business and PT package 6 months in. And I learned a lot of good systems. There's a guy called Bedros Keuilian. I can't spell his last name off the top of my head, but I'll get that for you. And he had a course called The Art of Selling Fitness. So we learned how to package. We learned how to, you know, I don't remember price, but contracting and the forms, because even like your consultation forms, when you get a new client in, you can, if you get the right information, you can use that back with them to make a sale, right? Some people say sales is a dirty word. The thing is, if you don't like selling, or if you don't get comfortable with it, you're not going to have a business, right? You're not going to be able to be good. And even if you're an employee, as an employee PT, you are constantly reselling your client as to why they're investing with you, right? So that was how I started. I started on the gym floor, obviously, like I said. Then I moved to that IBO model. For a bit, I was doing 20 hours a week on the floor and 20 hours of PT. And then what I would do is I'd just say, hey, I need to cut down my gym shifts because I'm getting too busy on the floor. Got to the point where with my gym shifts, I was booked out 3 weeks in advance. And then when I cut that completely, it was like, if you want to work with me, you have to actually pay additional. It's not free through the gym anymore. Then I'd go to Filex, I'd do all the continuing education stuff. And 1 year, I was out to lunch with the general manager. I'm like, I'm capped. I don't know how else I can grow my business. He goes, oh, you need more staff, but there's nothing in the contract that said we could do that. So I poured him another glass of wine and I said, so how do I do this? Can we do a deal about me getting people under me? And he goes, yeah, no worries, you can pay extra rent and they work under you. They're insured under you, you got to do everything. I'm like, okay, cool. So can it be a discount rent? Because like I've got to train a mentor, and so I negotiated. I pay for rent for every staff member under me. It becomes half rent. So I built up my team to 3 staff, dominated this leisure center. The gym had 3,000 members, so it's kind of like a fitness first, just not a fitness first. And then one day, the gym coordinator walked out. And so I called all the PTs in for a meeting, and the general manager heard that, and he goes, look, you've got good leadership, you're the most successful business owner here, I want you to manage the gym. I said, well, if I do that, you're cutting into my income, and I can make double what you would pay me doing PT, so I needed to work out a deal. So I worked out that I could get another staff member working under me without paying rent, and I could pick and choose my own hours, so the gym management work was not getting in the way of my PT. So what I did was I was doing clients 6 to 10. I was on the gym in the office from say 11 to 4, 11 to 5, then clients again to 8. When you're new in the industry, you gotta work hard. You gotta like, there is no substitute for actual hands-on work. There's so many trainers now that do their Cert 4, think they're gonna be, you know, an online trainer and it's easy and they're gonna make heaps of money, but that's bullshit. The best online coaches I know had 10 years on the floor, and that, you know, you're learning on the job, you're learning how to periodize. Like, you can learn all the theory from courses on program design and periodization, but seeing it live, like seeing on the floor how your clients respond, there's no substitute for that. So that's what I was doing. I built things up again, and then that general manager left and a new one came in, and she wanted to change the whole model. She didn't want to have the IBO model anymore. Now, I've been managing that gym for 2 years. I built it up from, I think, 4 PTs paying rent with people under them to like 12. They were making 200 to 300K a year from just PT rent. And then it was a member retention because all our clients had to be members of the gym. So I was like, look, this is suicide. If you do this, it's like a Fernwood model, which is shit. You know, you're gonna lose money. And we were pressing the council to extend the facility because we had renovations, but we're already hitting our cap. If we hit 3,500 members, we couldn't take on any more. So I did a proposal to the CEO, and obviously he was paying this nut job a full-time contract, and she was new, so he wanted to go with what she said. And I just didn't like her, to be honest. I got anxiety working with her, and I was very high stress. And I resigned from the management job, said, can't work for you anymore, I'm just gonna run my business. But basically the reason why I wanted to move on was because she turned around and said, with this employee model for next year, you can't have staff working under you anymore. So everyone needs to work for the gym. I said, so what about me? She goes, no, you can still pay rent. Like the oldies can pay rent, but new people have to work for the gym. I said, no, that's fine. So I found a loophole. I got a good lawyer. So I found a loophole in the contract. Moved to a gym 900 meters down the road. Now this was really good, like basically an apprenticeship for here, because I didn't have 3,000 members to source leads from. I didn't have a sales team and a marketing team every month trying to generate leads for the business that I could then do intro sessions with, or have my team do intro sessions with. So I'd moved from a gym that had 3,000 members to a gym that had 300 members. And I grew the business again through just organic marketing, before and afters, referrals, Facebook. Back then the algorithm was very kind to business owners, and you could put a before and after photo up, and if you had 1,000 fans, probably 900 would see them. Now you can't, if any organic post, 2% of your audience see. If you pay, then more see, but you can't pay to put before and afters on within reason, because they don't want like false claims or anything like that. Algorithm shit. So we were there for 4 years, and I always grew up in this area. My family home's literally a 3-minute walk down the road. I went to local high school, primary school, all that. And I remember when I was driving to TAFE, when I was doing my Cert 3 and Cert 4, I was like seeing these factories being built, and I was like, I want to have a PT studio there one day. And then I found out that this was actually a facility, but she wasn't doing well. She was nearly pregnant. Business wasn't doing great. She didn't want to run a business and have a kid, so she wanted to let it go. So I bought her out. For 3 months, I kept her business as well as mine, which was a small group PT thing, but it wasn't a clientele. Like, I've spent 200K on my education. When Charles Poliquin was here, I'd spend 1,000, but like, whenever he came to visit Australia, I'd do a course of his, and then I'd spend $1,000 for the hour to do a brain picking session, like one-on-one consultation with him. So I'm like, spent a lot of money on my education. I don't want people to train for the sake of training. Like, we're here for results. And you know, we get like this knockback of, I don't want to do PPs, I don't want to do nutrition, I don't want measurements, I just want to train, I just want to be fit. And I was like, right, we just built to 5 trainers. It was September of 2016, and I'm like, these classes are shit, they're getting in the way, they don't make enough money. You know, we were paying a staff member $50 for the session because that was what the original model was. And if we got 5 people attending the class, we broke even. If we got less, we lost money. And it was just, for what we charged, like, you know, premium area, one-to-one service, it just wasn't worth investing in that. So I gave them a month's notice, and I said, you know, we are going to close the group PT side of things down, and it's going to be exclusive one-on-one now. These are our packages, this is how we work. And if you want to come on board, there's going to be a discount. If you don't, we'll see you later in the month. Like that's it. So only like 5% of people stayed on, which was fun. And then over the years, like, it was a rocky road. Like, we doubled every year for the first 3 years. So it was crazy. Our 3rd year was 6 or 7 times the turnover of the first, which you think that's great, and you know, on the turnover side of things is great, but the stress side of things was massive. So I hired, you know, I headhunted people that I thought were great trainers, but they weren't right for the business, or they would do things their way, which didn't fit with our philosophy. You know, if you have a guy who's got an exercise science degree, who's good with rehab and good with training athletes, but he's eating pies and sausage rolls before he comes to work, and he doesn't know the first thing about nutrition, and he's that focused on movement at the expense of intensity. Like, yeah, he might be good as a rehab trainer, but he's not there to get the client the result, you know. So 2017, this room was formed. We did some renovations upstairs, and I'm like, need to run an internship. So I ran an internship for PTs. That was 1 day training, 1 day nutrition, 1 day business, and that was the birth of our academy. And then I did a partnership with Clean Health Fitness Institute, which was in Sydney. So we're their Melbourne host. So for 3 years, every time they run a course or a run of courses, we hosted their Melbourne leg of it. So we would have, and I highly recommend this continuing education. I don't get a kickback for this, but I recommend their courses, obviously, as well as our own. So performance nutrition level 1 and 2, performance PT level 1 and 2, and a business day with the founder himself. That was always good. But what we were fortunate with was we could host, if they brought an international guest, we hosted them. So we were gonna have Lane Norton here, but the numbers were too high. We couldn't fit more than 50 people in here, so we had to have it hosted elsewhere. But we had him, Christian Thibaudier, who I highly recommend to look up his work. Who else? Eugene, local guy, Eugene Thieram, is great. And yeah, basically, like, look, it's been a big journey of education. It's been a big journey of constant reinvestment. But like, within the industry, it's a great industry if you're getting into it for the right reasons. If you want to get into it just to make an easy buck, you're fucked. Like, you're not gonna do it. Like, you will. The burnout right now, I think, is 6 months. When I started, it was 2 years. But you gotta all pat yourself on the back. I don't know how you came about, you know, individually to come through Orphic, but the way we're working in partnership, there's no better cert for out there. ARF is terrible. I'm allowed to say that, right? That's not recorded.
We'll send it to
So, the problem of what you're gonna find, right, is there's so much cookie cutting in the industry. You find an online trainer, you get a program $97 a month, 5,000 people do it, and they've all got the same program, the same meal plan. Michelle Bridges was notorious for this. Like, she's not a great trainer, and everyone was getting all these results, but they were doing 90 minutes of training a day on 1,100 calories. Of course, they were gonna fucking lose weight, right? So AIF, the biggest problem I had with them was early on I couldn't employ staff from them because they were like rushed through their course, and it was like push pull leg. This is how you program: chest press, leg press, lat pull down, supported row, core exercises done. And I'm like, everyone's doing the same shit. Whereas here you're learning all the modules that are standard for Shed 3, Shed 4, but there's obviously additional stuff that Alex and guys at Orphic have put in. And then for those that are of the level required, you know, like if you're a good student and you're attending attentively the courses and, you know, there's good prospects for you that I see, then I offer shadowing. So if you do shadowing, you get 30 hours of an elite one-to-one environment that there's no better way of personal training than the one-on-one approach. You know, you can see people do small groups, semi-private. Yeah, it's good for money, and obviously like demographic specific too. You know, we're fortunate that the area is really sort of uplifted here. The demographics lifted around the area. We can have on a Monday night. There won't be a car that's worth less than 80k, 100k. You know, and so our 70% of our market is the upper middle class, the high-end general population. So they want results, right? But they've got the money to say, hey, just tell me what to do, and you do it. Like they don't want to think, you know. Whereas, and then the rest of our clients are either personal trainers or competitors. And this is the thing too. When you get in the industry, you wanna learn how to train everybody first, right? But then when you find who you either gravitate towards more or you find who you feel most comfortable working with, then you'd rather like niche towards that than be a jack of all trades and master of none, right? So I won't train like, you know, when I started, I was just training moms and dads, general population, fat loss, right? And then I had my first competitor who's was actually my first employee a year later, and she's still with the company now. And I was really starting to get into body transformation. But then I did my level 1 strength conditioning coach course. So I was like, I want to train athletes. And they said, what athletes do you want to train? I'm like, soccer players. And they laughed at me. They're like, strength conditioning for soccer in Australia is like 20 years behind. And there's no money. You're going to waste your time. But mate, no, I love the sport. That's what I want to do. There was no money. I did 6 months at a state level soccer club, so one below the A League, and it was like pre-season, there's no pay, and then everyone gets paid after. And then so the season starts, and every Thursday at training, the guys are all getting envelopes with their cash. And after the 4th week, I said to the coaches, I'm like, where's my money? And they're like, oh, hasn't the president spoken to you, or the vice president, the treasurer? I'm like, no, I'll go talk to him. So I spoke to him, and he's like, Tim, I thought the coaches were paying you. Like, we've never had a strength conditioning coach. There's no budget for this. So I left after that, because that week, they played against my team. So South Melbourne Soccer Club, who used to be in the National League before the A League. And it was just so hollow. I was like, I'm not fucking getting paid. I'm sitting behind the bench here, you know, Bentley top, and my team's playing. I'm like, no, I'm done. So that was it. But it was a good learning experience. And what happened was I ended up privately coaching, doing the training and nutrition for some top young soccer players. And that was good. Like my name went out there, you know, in a different way, right? But yeah, that's the journey. You know, we've got a really good team now. You know, we've got a 4-tier coaching system. So like, someone fresh out of school starts as basically a junior coach or level 1 coach. They get heavily invested in their education with us. Like they get access to our online portal, all the courses we have access to, private mentoring with me weekly. When we kick off the academy again, which will be the new financial year, all our courses, and all their job is to retain the client, right? So they run the PT sessions, but I'm doing the programming and nutrition. Senior level 1s who've got, say, 5 years experience plus, I do the nutrition for their clients, they do the programming and run the sessions. Level 2 senior coaches, we're looking, obviously a little bit more experience, more academically qualified. They do everything, and then currently I'm the only master coach. So for the clients, there's a different rate per coach, and for the frequency of sessions. And obviously for the staff member, the higher they are in that chain, the more they get paid per session. My advice to you guys is attend every class you can. If there's any online extra stuff, do that. Definitely you want to do a business day. It might not be that you want to be IBO straight up. It might not be that you want to go to a Fitness First or a Good Life and pay rent and run your own business. But you still want to learn all that stuff just in case. And even like how to sell, how to interact with your clients, how to give them an experience. So you're not just a PT. Like PTs are basically rep counters. And I give AIF as an example. Their trainers are qualified to teach overweight general population how to use the basic machines. That's it, right? Whereas a coach kind of has a holistic mindset. They understand their training and nutrition is one thing, but looking at the client's stress, looking at the sleep, looking at the digestion, and trying to personalize everything in a way that fits their lifestyle so they can get the result, but it's not realistic for the time they can commit, which is what we do. And it's why, one, we're the only one-on-one PT studio in this area, but two, no one gets the results that we do. Like around the corner, there's an industrial block, there's an F45, there's an RBT, there's a CrossFit box, there's 2 other little private gyms. No one gets results there like we do. There's another sort of bigger gym that does groups, and it's all about just cookie cutter. Like sometimes not even cookie cutter, it's random workouts. They make it up on the day, they smash the clients, they go in, go out, and that's it. But yeah, definitely, if you can, basically like what I did, and serve your apprenticeship, get a job as a gym instructor. If you can, that's great. If you can work in a more private to semi-private environment, like something like this, where you work as an employee and you don't have to pay rent and worry about chasing leads, running your business, and you can learn and grow, that's great. If you're someone that's run a business in the past and you do have the mentality to do that, and the background, what I would say is get a 3-month probation, like 3 months rent free, but make sure you've hired mentors. Like my first business coach was, so I was 21 when I started in the industry. I'm 37 now. My first business coach was 22, and my second business coach was 23. I remember because he was surprised I was there on my 23rd birthday. And if I thought that by spending some money with someone I was going to climb the ladder faster, I'd always do it, and I still do it to this day. So that's the kind of thing that you got to think about. Okay. That's all I've got. That's me. That's Bodyseek. Look, add us on Instagram. So just @Bodyseek. Check out our website so you find out a little bit more about us. And in future weeks, I'll have a rundown of our continuing education courses that you guys get discounts on, and how that's going to run for the year. Any questions?
What was your process finding mentors and knowing whether it was the right person to pay for?
That's a great question. Very good. Results.
Results?
So I would look at the results they were achieving and be like, okay, I want to learn that. So in 2010, I went to the Gold Coast for a boys trip, but I read a book from my business coach at the time that featured all their students, funny enough, from across Australia. And this guy's chapters resonated with me the most. So I was like, hey, I'm coming up to the Gold Coast for a holiday. Can I come and intern with you and do some private mentoring and stuff? I did. It was friggin' expensive at the time. 11 years ago, to be paying $350 a month for online training was nuts, but it was good. But yeah, definitely, I looked at the results I was achieving. So, for example, don't want to mention it, but does anyone know Enterprise Fitness, Marco Tobray? No? Good, you don't want it. Do you?
So I spoke to him on the podcast.
That's right. Anyways, so I did his Wolfpack which was like 5 courses for the year, sales coaching call, business coaching call once a month. But I did that not because I liked the guy, he's very arrogant, a lot of ego, and but I did it because he'd done what I wanted to do. And then I went to his sales coach because his sales coach helped him create Wolfpack. So it was like, he's onto something, right? And I learned to sell better than ever before and package better than ever before. Then the next step was Mcdonald, he's the only person in Australia that I know that's had 2 PT studios in high-end areas, or actually Tasman's not high-end, but 25 PTs, 500 sessions a week, multi-million-dollar revenue, education business. I was like, well, no one else has done that, so I'm gonna learn from him. So I went through the pathway of mentors that have done what I wanted to do to get there faster. That's the best way.
So on the booklet, you guys will have a little bit of a why, like you'll see this golden circle. Nope. You'll see this golden circle. This is the stuff we're going to talk about. Like, why are you really doing this? Like, okay, Tyler, you're talking about who do I learn from? How do I pick? Well, if you don't know what's important to you, you won't know who to learn from. Like, how can I tell you whether I'm the right guy or Tim's the right guy? You know, it depends. So, bit of why. Really important stuff. This is foundational stuff. This is going to serve you for the future. But I've formatted it and spent a lot of time and effort. And this is actually, because now we're an RTO, Registered Trade Organization, this is for our next intake. This is part of our new refined curriculum. So you guys get a little bit of a snippet of what that's going to look like. So, we're going to go through this. You guys would have seen probably and skimmed through it. This is what your, basically not 30, 26, but this is also what your online module stuff is going to look like as well. Okay, so we're going to take it roughly in this order. Really see a lot of Cert 3s and 4s, they're just going to talk to you about the sets and reps, the numbers, right? But what's really important is how you are as people. Like, open-minded, can you critically think? Like, are you confident? Can you problem solve? None of this is like, how good you are at memorizing shit, or like how good you are writing a program. Like, to me, that's easy to teach you, okay? But this stuff, that's the stuff you don't really get taught, okay? So, to delivering that to a really high standard, an excellent standard, and making sure you understand key theory and the application, so then you have a point of difference and you're not just like another fish in the sea. Very important. You don't need to worry about that. Those are just contact stuffs and FAQ stuff you guys can read another time. I'm going to spend more time on the most important stuff here. We talked about this already. There's also space in the PowerPoint for you to write and take more notes. You might recognize that guy. That's yeah, he's different head, but that's your boy. But this we've already kind of talked about. What I like is that most of you have an understanding of what you want. Like what you want your day-to-day to look like. And it's okay if you don't yet, but we've established already a little bit of that. Now, I think it's Daniel, right? Yeah, Daniel, you talked about how like expectation and reality, like the turnover rate of PTs because they expect one thing and then they get another. I want to merge the two. Expectation and reality can be misaligned, and so I want to bridge that gap, okay? So all these categories, take a read of them. We're talking about like, just take a look at the categories: communication, psychology, delegation, critical thinking, science, like business, marketing, finance. To become a good coach is more than just doing a degree, more than just being really solid with the foundational science, okay? look at what I put at the top. Communication, we talked about that earlier, like habits, psychology. Do you understand change behavior? That's a term, okay? Do you understand that you can't fix all the problems, nor do you need to? Allied health professionals working and networking with other people is very valuable. And we never lived in a time where everybody... There's a lot of turmoil with people on the internet, on social media, like particularly in political realms. We're very at odds with one another, okay? And in this space, health and wellness, like there's so much contradictory information. Everybody's going to have an opinion and think, oh, they know what a healthy diet is. They know the ideal way to train, and they're going to tell you, right? And so how do you decipher, disseminate all of this information coming at you? Critically think, objectively analyze it, and solve problems. And this, I think the business market, like having some business acumen, some financial intelligence, like that will serve you through life. And so that's one of our last modules we discuss, but the stuff we talk about there is very practical. It serves you through all fields. But understanding it, like you could be awesome in all of here, but if no one knows who you are and you don't have many clients, then maybe because you don't have great habits around business or finance, a lot of it might be wasted. So, Andrew brought this up earlier. He kind of planted a seed that I wanted to surprise you all with of how you could do it. But like, here's what a great career in the industry could look like. You know, Tim made a point. It's like making a lot of money really quickly isn't necessarily easy, and it's like a fantasy for a lot of people. Okay, but you can do it smarter. It doesn't have to take you 10, 15 years, right? There are certain systems and habits you can implement with your business to get you there more efficiently. So, like, ask yourselves, am I doing these things? Okay, like working hard, I think that's an easy thing. Consistent, that's huge. Okay, how many of us are going to turn up every class? We're going to see. I've done this many times, you know. It's obvious who is the most committed with how consistent people are. Working smart. That's what I want to teach you guys a lot of. And here, how do you work smart? By developing intelligent systems and habits. So, retention rate is so low. I want a thing. Do they have, you know those little blinkers that go? I want one of those. Damn it. There's none. Sorry. Why is a personal trainer, their career isn't that profitable? It's not that long term, okay? You don't have to be that trainer. You don't have to be the trainer that just has a very short lifespan. So you don't have to rely on in-person coaching. Tim prides himself on it, okay? And it's how I started, just coaching a lot of hours, getting reps in. Coaching reps is what we call it. You're going to learn a lot there. I recommend you do it. But if you expect to trade time for money, hour to hour, and live a life of wealth and financial freedom where you can make decisions freely, is going to be quite difficult. Because you're limited with the time you have in the day. You can keep increasing your hourly rate, but the cap per hour is eventually like, you know, per hour of how many hours you have in a day, like we all have the same amount. So, and what if you don't want to actually coach 5 to 10 hours a day to make $100,000 or $200,000 a year? What if you want to do other things? I do a lot of shit. I like doing a lot of shit. I'm very curious. So you might want to do that. You might want to live more of a life that is a bit free, doesn't tie you down to having to be here physically. So, I like the term renting out your time for money. Like it's something I wish I knew when I was younger. Like renting out your time is usually how we get in to the system, how we get into the game, but it's usually not how we become wealthy okay? Like your dad, Tyler, with the gym, he owns it, right? I mean, he manages them people. He's hired a bunch of people to manage that, so he doesn't have to be as connected to that gym, okay? Tim is a guy who's quite connected to this gym, but he could hire people to replace him, to delegate tasks, so then he doesn't have to be as ensconced in the time dedicated to the business. So, very simple, and we'll talk about this much more as we go along through business. Smart systems, we want the inputs to not match the outputs. This is a very important concept for money. This is the shit that, unfortunately, I didn't learn when I was younger until, over the last couple of years. So let's say the input is 1 hour of work equals 1 hour of money. Now, what if you could have input, you got whatever it takes you, let's say 15 to 30 minutes, but the output can then serve multiple opportunities to make money over and over again, and you only need to do this once. It's a terrible marker, but I hope that makes sense. Now, the input doesn't match the output. So that could look like 70 to 80, 100,000 a year from a couple dozen clients. Andrew knows the answer. It's here, it's possible, guys. Like, you don't have to just survive in this industry. You can thrive. 25 clients, 80 a week, 52 weeks, 104K a year. Suddenly, you're now earning above the median wage, and you can live a life that with more freedom, and you can help people more effectively if you have your own membership. You're all signed up, most of you are signed up to gym memberships, you're paying them, and you pay them like $10 to $15 a week. You're just renting a space. You're renting equipment. That's essentially what a commercial gym membership is. But like what I do, what my coach does, and Andrew's coach does, what some of your coaches might have done, they have systems where your client will pay you $50, $80, $100 a week. You give them a service that you've already set up a bunch of systems that you don't need to actually transfer. I don't need to spend an hour with you a week. It's just about getting a result. People are paying you for a result now, not so much for your in-person time. So I want you guys to think about that, about how you can create your own systems to service your own client, so then you can make, that's really just the tip of the iceberg of what's possible. But I would say for most people, that would be a pretty comfortable living. And, let's say everybody in there could make something like that from 25 clients. You got time to do other shit too. Had you guys, besides Andrew, have you guys ever thought about something like that? Did you guys know that was possible?
Yeah. I have a business coach that's around this style of thing.
Yeah.
So it's more creating product systems and things like that, so that then you don't have to constantly be swapping time for money.
Mm-hmm.
So you set it up, you automate it all, and then your job is to actually go out and sell it on the front end. And once they go through the link, they sign up. The majority of it's set. You might have to tinker with bits and pieces as you go through for each different person, but you're not spending hours upon hours just inducting people to start off with. It's very quick, and then you can move forward with it, which brings down that amount of time that you spend to make money.
Yeah.
And you can just turn over and turn over.
Exactly. And you can help more people. Like, this is not just about selfishly making more money, right? If you set up a bunch of systems where you actually, no, I'm going to show it at a later date. Trackers, nutrition logs, you have streamlined ways of communicating, emails, like suddenly now you're really smart with your money and your time. And we can all think about, like, how can you make your day-to-day systems more effective? Like, clients used to pay by like transfer, bank transfer. What a waste of time. Even if it's just a couple of minutes. Like, why would I need to send you my bank details? No, you're on a direct debit system, right? Oh, it's on a page here. Like, that Time saved, because that will multiply, okay? That's like compounding. So there's numerous examples we'll talk about at a later date, but I want you guys to know that you don't have to be that PT and coach who just is out in the industry because they just, oh man, I need something more stable. It just wasn't stable enough. No, it's not the career, it's you. You just didn't figure out the systems. Any other comments, questions?
I know you'll probably speak about it later, but in terms of like packaging different structures.
Yep.
So like, obviously having like a core main product offering, your subscription base, and then high ticket sort of stuff. That's kind of my interest.
Okay.
How I package that stuff.
If some of you end up getting your Cert 3 and 4 quicker and actually are ready to have that conversation and put it into practice, come talk to me. But that's essentially the second last module. And we're going to go in detail into like, okay, how do we package this practically? Okay, but I just want to know first, it's possible to excite you guys that like shit. Like some of you can make this type of money like within a couple of years. So cool. All right. The size of your fire behind the goal will determine the discipline and the result, okay? So what is it? Like this kid, he's got to walk up all these stairs. You've got to have a damn good reason to walk up all those stairs. So this is kind of like a representative, a symbol of what progress through this industry looks like. Let's say you get a coach. Your coach is on this 10th step, okay? You're here, okay? A lot of you guys are. You all have your different experiences. Maybe some of you start here or the second step, whatever. Getting a coach, all right, you've now built a little escalator where you can skip like 3 steps. That's kind of like the metaphor. But what's going to keep you driving towards keep going? Like what's going to keep you going? Like this purpose, this fire behind this kid is this fire. Like he's going to go up there. So what's yours? So that's what we're going to talk about. A lot of people end up leaving is because they don't have this really strong why. So how many coaches do you know who've been in the industry 5 to 10 years just off the reason that, I like to help people. I like fitness, I'm good at sport. There's probably going to be something much more deeper than that when you really get down to it. Something deep-rooted. And the same thing is going to be for your clients. So when things get difficult, will you have a strong purpose to lean on? And there's that quote by Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor, is those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. So you can basically, it doesn't matter what's happening to you, it doesn't matter how you're feeling, you're going to turn up to train every day. Doesn't matter, it's part of you. Anybody heard of Simon Sinek or watched this TED Talk? Heard of him?
Yeah.
Watched it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to autoplay. If you guys don't mind, some people are better at articulating ideas than I can. A lot of people, I should say, some people. And so I want to show you guys this TED Talk that he did about establishing your why to springboard off us then establishing our own. To give you an idea,
how do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight, the Wright brothers?
I'm going to give you guys a summarized one.
Why, how, what?
I do encourage you to watch the full thing, but
This little idea
this is the concept.
explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that.
so you guys will all do that with your coaching, right? You're going to have this, what? Okay, you're going to offer what? Training, coaching, packages, memberships, okay? This is how we do it. It's set up in like a 12-week package, and we have this tracker, and we have this, you have your meal plans, and like, okay, you'll have that, okay? But then that doesn't make you different necessarily, right? A lot of people have that.
Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers, the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You ready to buy a computer from me? All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. When we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. Sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures, and you say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right. Because the part of the brain that controls decision making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart, or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't the other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal?
Why do we do it? So why are you guys doing this? That's what we got to establish now, because the feeling that Simon was talking about, that feeling, it's like, I don't know. They understand your features. Your product's great. You're selling, like, everything makes sense in the coaching package. But there's usually more to it why people make a decision. You all signed up to the Cert 3 and 4. Yes, the costs, you took that into consideration, the timing, where you are at the stage in life. But at some point, and I should have said some version of this to all of you, our values have to align. Our values is my why. We are committed, and this is alike to my coaching, I am committed to a standard of excellence, a high standard of excellence, and being very holistic and approaching the body in a way where we look at it from a bird's eye view, and we try and solve problems not by looking at one thing, but by taking consideration many systems. That is one of my values, and I'm committed to working with people who are dedicated to changing themselves, not just physically, but mentally. Like, those are some of my values and like why I do that may resonate with people like you. And so I think it can be hard to articulate. I'm pulling up my website because I know it can be hard to articulate exactly, why? Like, I don't know. How can I create such a profound thing like Apple did? And Simon was giving the example of their why. And it was quite compelling, right? So how can you guys, we're going to do that for your own. Like, I want you guys to think about how we can design our own version of that. So this little spiel here, like, that's part of my why. I didn't talk to you anything about, like, people who care about understanding and taking advantage of these categories and topics and the whole human science. Those are people who might resonate with me. And then really, if we really want to get down to it, I guess my why and where I come from, guys, is a place of weakness and insecurity. And if you're somebody who wants to transform yourself from a point where you felt like you were helpless and you didn't feel like you were good at really anything in life, right? You felt pretty worthless and you didn't feel like you have anything to really grasp onto. That's how I felt growing up. I didn't feel talented or skilled naturally towards anything. And then I found this field. And so if you're a type of person who has felt like that, feels like that, and wants to no longer feel like that, I may be a great coach for you. Here are my coaching packages. But you see, where I come from and the why behind that is much deeper than looking at the body holistically. It's like, okay, it's here. I put it out there because I want people to understand, like, When you're left with feelings of being useless in the world, you get fed up with who you are, so you acquire new skills, realize you have more talent in those skills than anything you've ever done. That's what I realized when I started doing this. And then you couple that with a curiosity you have for the human body, and you have a very high, you care about an excellent standard. And so you dedicate yourself to it. So if those things align with you, then I may be a good coach for some people like that.
Because you have the experience firsthand, you're able to actually connect better with that person. Does that make sense?
The experience of...
Like, that you felt insecure
Yes.
and all the rest of it.
Yes.
So that's where I feel the same thing. Like,
Really?
well, like
Talk to me.
insecurities, like everyone has them.
Of course.
But, you know, a lot of people won't see it, or some people say, oh, no, you're always so confident. That's not it at all. I'm at home every day going through, you know, how can I change this, what can I do, working on myself, reading books, going to counsellors, doing all these things, but I'm constantly working on myself. But the way I give off myself obviously is a common thing, but it's not. It's just full of insecurities. It's constant. Yeah, and I think a lot of people are actually like that. Other people just don't carry it so well and are actually insecure, and you know, you see that. I think obviously yourself, if you've been there, you know how to deal with it. You can help other people build it up. So, like myself, being, you know, like, sorry to take over class all the time.
You could, Andrew.
This is like honesty, and I've always been this way. I've got no issues ever saying like I've been an alcoholic or a drug addict or whatever, depressed. You know what I mean? I've been there, and that's what's got me. And you know, Jim has helped me get through all these sort of things. But because I've been there, I now understand my clients better. I can help them out or give them my side. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but it worked for me. So it's a personal thing rather than just reading it from a book and going, oh, the book says it works, here you go. You've got another avenue you can offer. Does that make sense?
It, like you said, it makes you more relatable.
Yes.
And it's a way to connect.
Connect, yep.
So by bearing my soul a little bit, being a bit vulnerable, hopefully I can connect a little bit more with you guys. Guys, I'm not that much different from all of you. I'm not really. I can tell you how I got here, but there's no read. There is read. You can do your own version of this and be even better at it. Why not?
There's no textbook for that. I think this is the problem with a lot of the trainers while they're in here and out in 6 months' time as well. Because they have a certain, like you say, they're not open-minded. How many people actually are like yourself and will give out personal information straight up? Makes the client feel so much more comfortable. Better, related, 100%.
Exactly.
But a lot of people that go in, and I see a lot of coaches that will always turn around and blame the client, this and that, not be understanding of the client. Fuck this industry, I'm out of it. And that's what happens. I find that people aren't, you know, people don't want to come and, most people come to the gym and they don't last long at all because it's hard. They get smashed with what Tim was saying before, leg session and don't come back. Well, that's the excuse for everyone. It's hard to get there in the first place if they don't enjoy it and don't like it. They'll just make an excuse and get out. But if you're relating to that coach and everything else, and they're making you feel welcomed, and they're making you, you know, rather than just turn around and going, you're weak, push, but trying to understand them and gradually get through them instead of kill them in 2 sessions and say, no, you've got to change as of today, you know. And that's what happens, I think, and a lot of the PTs get sick of working with, you know, certain people. Their mindset's shit, fuck it, you know, or like constantly blaming the client all the time instead of being understanding of them. Because you're dedicated, because you can cook your meals, because you prioritise your shit, everyone's got to be the same. Well, it doesn't work that way. Everybody's different, everyone struggles, you know what I mean? That's my opinion, just from what I've seen at one of the gyms I go to, and it's like, geez, this whole industry just seems very bitchy and, you know, like...
It's McFitness.
Dude, I just spin out because it's like, well, hold on, we're so quick to judge and all the rest of it, but what about if all the PTs and all the rest of it were less judgy, a little bit more caring and a little bit more understanding?
Yeah.
That, you know, there is people that are insecure and, you know, they come here for your help, they want to change that, but you're already too hard not understanding of it and you just buried the poor cunt in 2 seconds.
And it becomes
you know what I mean?
the gym becomes the tool.
Now all of a sudden
That's how I see it. So it's sort of like how you described earlier today, like, you know, you were going to the gym you didn't?
Yeah, so gym changed me, like you say, so like when I first started, it kept me away from alcohol. I split with the kid's mum and all the rest, and I was in a really bad way. But that was rather than turn to the alcohol this time, I'm like, no, bugger, I'm going this way. And that changed me. But then I realised that if you don't find something else to sort of keep your head moving along, what happens when the gym's not there? What about when I get injured?
Yeah.
Bang, straight back to the bottle or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you need to work. It's not just about, it's keeping a healthy mind, you know what I mean? But that led me down that path to actually change myself, do you know what I mean? The gym got me out of it.
Beautiful sign, man.
And then, do you know what I mean? So, yeah,
No,
anyway, each to their own.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Because I think that's like most people are going into the gym with an idea that you want to be fit, whatever that means in your mind, but really the driver behind that is probably something a bit more psychologically based, I'd say.
Well, I've got a theory that everyone that goes to the gym is fucked in the head.
Yeah.
But especially anyone that does a competition, like,
That's the best.
you're just crazy. Like, who wants to put themselves through that 22, 24 weeks, and especially the last 6 weeks of prep? Like, it's just craziness. You've done comp?
No,
No? Well, you look mighty shredded in one of your things. I'm like, well, yeah, right, yeah. Well, you've been there. So, either comp or...
Did you do a comp?
I have done one. Well, there's two, but yeah, it's no different for you. Like to do your marathon. Like it's crazy. It's the dedication, and you got to be fucked in the head, especially running, dude. You're crazy. Personally, I can't run, but I'm just like, what drives us to do this? There's got to be some sort of imbalance in the brain to be able to, you know.
But for me, it's finding the challenge in it.
That's
Like,
it. So
as
you go
in-
for the challenge. This is the thing. So I'm the same. I love that challenge. Why do you want to do this? Dude, that pain, the push. Can I push myself? No, I'm fucking dead today. Bullshit. You're gonna get up and you're gonna fucking do that.
But that's the beauty of it, I reckon, because it's always rooted in something physical. So if I said to you, like, say the modern world, I could say go and play the stock market and become a millionaire, that'd probably freak you out because it's so shapeless and you don't really know how to do that. Whereas your body and lifting heavy things will always result in you putting on muscle. So you can use that as a tool to build up your mental strength.
100%. Yeah.
Because the mental land's a bit hard to find some signposts sometimes, but when you're in physical land, you can kind of actually see progress.
Fair point.
That's what I reckon. Anyway.
You're also talking about a zero-sum game versus a positive-sum game.
Yeah, right.
Do you want to explain what you mean by that?
So, stock market and trading, if I win on a trade, that means somebody else has lost.
Yeah.
So, it's a zero-sum game. Somebody has to lose for you to win. In terms of coaching, training, whatever else, it's a positive-sum game. The amount of work that I put into you, you get a great result, that makes me feel good as well, because I've helped you get the result. So it's positive both sides.
It's important. I don't want you guys ever think that this coaching thing is a zero-sum game, meaning everybody can win. Everybody says this industry is so saturated, right? You guys are entering it, but people leave it every day. But also, what happens is there is unlimited amounts of people who are could hire you, who want to be healthier, who want to transform themselves, right? So don't ever think, man, that this saturation of the industry, whatever shit, is a reason not to continue to pursue it, and not a reason that you can't make a successful business. How many clients do you think you need? I put 24 and you can make 100K. Like our coach Ben has like 45 and he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like you don't need like all of the people. Like start with just a couple. How about that? There's a couple people that could probably hire each and every one of you that you guys all know or looking to improve their health that you could work with for free for the next 12 weeks. Everybody knows at least 1-2 people. It's not a zero-sum game. There's opportunity, endless opportunity.
I've never heard that.
It's a very interesting philosophy.
I want to try and I like visuals, so I think like auditory is hard. Well, that doesn't help.
Yeah, there's like, you can have a situation where both people lose as well out of it. So it's either one person wins, one person loses.
Yeah, you got like a pie.
2 people can win, or both can lose. And that's on everything.
I trade stocks a lot, like just trade it and never think of it like
Yeah, but
that's going to make me feel bad every time I make money.
So this is the funniest thing about trading. trading is all about you mentally.
Yeah.
If you're mentally stable,
Yeah.
then you can do very well, especially if you can remove any feeling from doing it.
Yeah, I used to do
If you-
live trading.
Isn't it?
If you
Remove
can't,
emotion from
yeah,
anything.
if you
Yeah.
can't remove your emotions,
It's fucked.
you'll fail. You'll
Yeah.
lose all your money.
That's why the world's
You'll never
run by
do
psychopaths.
I did the live trading. I actually got depressed from trading. I actually probably not real depression, but I was fucked for ages because I did live trading.
But it's also how you deal with losses.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
as in, that's the thing you have to learn.
Yeah.
Is that
Be like the Buddha, mate.
you're gonna lose more than you're gonna win. That's
Yeah.
the realistic side of it.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna lose more trades.
This is where this industry is really hard as well. If you're a caring person, you get sucked in. You can get dragged down big time, and your business can suffer from that. Because you're giving out all your time too much. Like, I know what I'm already like. I'm like, yeah, 15-minute check-ins. Better give an hour slot. Because I'll be talking. Oh, hold on a second, mate. Rewind. What happened at the start of the week?
You know where I would.
I'm going.
I've been there,
hopeless.
and I felt like that. And for me, it comes from a place where I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't feel like I feel the same here. Like, oh, 3-hour class. Oh, we can be here for like 4 hours. Like, I want to give you more.
Yeah.
Why do I want to give you more?
Your time.
Right? Is it really because I'm this selfless, altruistic person? Not really. Like, I care about you guys, but there's an insecurity within me that I don't feel like I'm good enough. And so if I give you more, I feel like you can walk away with more, right? So that makes me feel like I've given you more, so I feel more secure. Yeah, I feel more secure about
That's a
myself.
point.
Maybe there's
I think
something
you're
in
right,
there
100%.
like you.
And like that,
Yeah,
it comes
yeah.
down to how you price yourself as well. Like, and this is what my business coach goes into a fair bit. If you don't feel you're worth that dollar value, then you're going to give a whole bunch of stuff away, either to that person or externally to get rid of whatever you're making.
Right, so if I don't feel like I'm actually worth 120 an hour, like I have this insecurity, oh, I'm charging too much, imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
let me give you more to make up for it.
Some bulk nutrient bags and stuff. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, we got even more. It's coming out of so much.
Sorry, I just seen the opportunity. I had to take it. Come on.
Beautiful.
Either you like give it to that person in terms of you might have had the 15 minutes or the hour slot booked, but you give it an hour and a half for the same
The same.
thing. Or you then go and give that money away elsewhere. Like you said, the Starbucks thing of giving $1.
Yeah.
That's because you think that you've got it so good that money doesn't mean anything to you.
No, not so much
Like,
that.
but as in, that's that part of it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
in
yeah,
terms of
that's-
people that just give and give and give.
Yeah.
That's because they don't feel like they're worth what they have.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks.
So they get rid of it.
That'd be a driver, yeah. I think more
You
like
can
just
ask
in the
anytime.
way we've
Let you know,
constructed
Susan. Thank you.
modern capitalism, like we sort of have to acknowledge the fact that we do denigrate the environment, like really badly to get the things we want, the conveniences we want. Yet we're happy to do that because we just pay our extra buck on the coffee and out of sight, out of mind.
Which 31 cents of that actually goes to where it needs to.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, and I think the same kind of applies to, like, say, the fitness industry, though. People think of fitness as something that you can just pay for and that you don't actually have to connect with on any level. You can just sort of pay your coach and you will get fit through some process of
You don't have to do the hard work.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, they think that just turning up for the 3 sessions and doing whatever they want outside
Yeah,
ends up with a result.
yeah, and
It's
that's
not
what I
what
think
happens
you gotta-
outside that affects.
Yeah, and you got to anchor the result to something better than money, I think, because money's just such a, like, trivial way, like,
It might get them in the door, but it won't necessarily keep them there
Yeah,
to
that's
build
right.
accountable, sustainable habits.
yeah.
That's a really good point you made, Mike, is just to anchor it in something more than, this is really good, this is really relevant, all right? Because they're going to pay X amount per session, but what's going to really keep them there? This little task we're doing now for yourself, you will do a version of it to your clients, okay? So there's this 5 whys. So how can we anchor it in something real for you and for every person you work with? Well, let's ask you guys first. Someone might come to you, well, why do you want to become a PT and coach? The answers I get when I talk to people is like, oh yeah, I've always really liked sport, I've been good at sport, health, fitness. Okay, I go deeper, right? I want to really know, like, is this for you? Okay? So, you're going to do this for yourself now, but it's going to be phrased, and this is in, if you have a laptop or something to electronically see the PowerPoint, I have made it so you can write inside the PowerPoint. This is why I encourage you guys to bring laptops if you have them. Your what, your how, and your why. Just do it on any paper in there if you'd like. Maybe I've got some spare paper somewhere. Or your phone. You can use your phone as well. I don't care. Why do you want to do this? And with the why, you're going to ask yourself 5 times. Like, why? Why do you want to become a coach PT? And then the what and the how. So we're going to spend some time. How often do people do journaling, self-reflective writing? Almost never. So we're going to spend some time digging right now. And then we'll talk about it. So the stuff that you guys were just telling me, I want you to articulate that. I want you to write it down. We're going to basically answer the question, what's your why? Like, why are you really doing this as a PT? But you ask yourself, why do you become a PT? Then ask, why? First answer. Why do you want to, like, why is that the answer? Again. It's in the PowerPoint. I mean, you don't have a laptop, but you can write it in your phone if you don't have space there.
Yeah.
You can write it there. Figure out your what, your how, your why.
You know, by asking the why so many times, are you actually getting to the point of, like, if I keep going through it, it's basically, you know, it's like what the counsellors would say. Are you asking yourself the right questions? Are you basically trying to get to it like, yeah, okay, I want to help people become the best versions of themselves, this and that, but
why? Why do you want? Yeah.
Well, realistically, the answer to that is because of where I was in my point of life, where I was rock bottom, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's basically what you're getting at by asking that question.
Exactly.
It's not just, it's because I want to change this, but deep down, why is it?
Exactly.
How did you get to that?
What you were telling us before.
Yeah. Well, that's my
with alcohol
complete
and drugs.
Yeah, that's my complete
I want to know those roots.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And I want you to make the connection between oh, this is why I want to do this because of what happened in my past.
Yeah, well, look, I look at it and see, okay, I've still got friends like that. But I see them constantly battling with the alcohol each week and wanting to do this. And they will see how dedicated and structured I am. They just love it. And shit on me all the time, because that's what boys do.
Of course.
But then at the same time, and this is where it's very difficult for us to even, you know, hang out or whatever. Because all they want to do is drink alcohol. That's what they want to do. But yet, inside they're battling their heads all the time. Well, that's what I want to do. I want to help people get out of that. You know what I mean? So, I've been there, and it's shit. It's not a nice place to be. Like, yeah, you're fine, but you're just floating in life. You're not going anywhere. You've got no direction. Nothing's happening. You're just stagnant, but you're here. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then getting structure and the gym and all the rest of it has actually given me direction to now move. And now it's opened up my vision, my world. So it's all constantly. Does that make sense?
It makes complete. You could. I'm really interested by this because you could write hundreds of words on this. Like you're telling me, this is your story. Like that's your answer.
Oh yeah. I could go on about this for fucking ages.
Have you wrote about this before?
No, but I've told the story a million fucking times. That's the problem.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry, if you want to look at it like that. Yeah, I did a Facebook post when I came out of it into the gym. I did a post and it was I got a hell of a lot of people actually private message me about it afterwards, and that's what I was like. Hold on, this is why I've sort of gone down this path. I did a lot of counselling and all that sort of stuff. I've never been one to steer away from digging deep and finding out reasons. So I was able to share it with people to say, look, if things aren't going too well in your life or whatever, maybe try this path, you know. Look down the counselling side of things, look into the gym, do this, find out what it is to, you know, get you out of it. And yeah, I got a lot of people that were struggling at the time. I didn't realise how many of my friends were actually, you know, and it wasn't accepted to really talk about, if that makes sense. But because I spoke my mind, everyone's gone, well, fucking hell, he's this person they've looked at and has always seen confidence and never done this and blah, 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 blah. Didn't see that happening. I never seen him going through that. He never mentioned any of that. It was life seemed perfect, blah, blah, blah. Little did that know it was broken down and was in, you know, all sorts, you know what I mean? But because I'd done that, it allowed other people to, yeah. I mean, I suppose it's more accepted now with mental health awareness and all the rest of it, if that makes sense. But that's all it was really. It was just a breakdown for me, so. But yeah, that's what I realised at that stage. Was like, wow, maybe that's where my passion is. Being able to help people out. You know, people see and understand it. Because that's the hardest part, was trying to understand why, how, when, what can I do, what can I change. The relationships that break down with the kids' mum, and like this is never ending. It's been going for fucking years and years and years, brother. This talk, it just stems from one to the other. But that's my thing about.
If you can synthesize that and communicate that in like a small paragraph, like I did on my website, and you can make people understand that, because not everybody is gonna like want to know every single detail and story.
Yep.
But if you could synthesize where that comes from for you and communicate that to people.
That's what
Your
I've
connection.
been trying to fucking do in my head for ages, mate. Honestly, trying to get all these jumbo inside to, you know, to stroll and put it into.
You'll have to write it.
Oh,
as in just spit it out,
yeah.
and then highlight the bits
points.
that actually.
Yeah.
But that's what I want you to start. Absolutely, that's what I want you to start doing now.
Yeah.
Andrew, it's like that's the point of this task as well. So all of you may not have some like, you know,
retarded
yeah.
fucking version of your head.
Yeah, like why that comes from like insecurity or like drugs or alcohol. It's fine. It can be whatever it is for you, and it'll change. I want to start. Sorry. What did you prefer to be called? Danny. My bad, Danny. Danny. I want to start with you. What's your version? And also, while we're talking, you guys can still write, and maybe it can give you guys some ideas. And while we're talking, you can feel free to write too. But Danny, like, let's talk through this. So watch how I ask the questions, guys. This is how I would communicate if you were a client of mine, you know, and I'm asking you in my first initial consultation, okay, let's talk about that. My initial consultation is not just screening you for physiological, psychological issues, it's understanding this. Why are we really here? So, Danny, like tell me what you've been writing.
So, my watch.
What, how, why?
Yeah. I'd like to offer my PT sessions to complement my massage therapy sessions, because most of the time clients left the session feeling frustrated because yes, they might be fixed for 1 hour, but there's no long-term version of the program. Like they don't do the exercise at home, and the problems keep coming back. So I would like to offer a more holistic program for them, so I can give them the autonomy. They can do exercise at home and feel better.
And they don't have to be reliant on
Exactly.
the quick temporary band-aid.
I like that. So I fix them for 1 hour, give them the option for them to train, and then hopefully they can feel better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going. What's next?
That's pretty much it.
What about the how? Like how are you going to implement that? Did you have that?
Yeah.
Or did you mention?
So that I have a system where that I can promote their autonomy, competence, and relatedness, and obviously understand their psychology, the why they come to see me. And my why is because, as I said, most of the time my clients left the session feeling frustrated, and they said the massage therapy industry is only hands-on, not enough exercise, not enough advice after the session, and we don't tend to give the most evidence-based advice to clients. That's the perception of the client about massage therapy industry.
So you want to help break that stigma and stereotype?
Yeah.
Why is that important to you? Like, why is it important that your clients come out feeling not so frustrated, and you help break that stereotype? Why do you care about that?
Because they invest their money in their health, harder money than you, and they just keep coming back wasting their money.
Yeah.
And they don't see the results. And they want to play the sports and then they can't do it, and it's it will affect their self-esteem, their confidence, and how they feel about themselves.
Yeah. Have you been in maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but has there been a time in your life where you felt like that?
Yeah.
Take us back. Like when? When did you feel like that?
It was my ACL injury. It happened with the physiotherapist actually, and he didn't really care about me, and I just kept paying sessions and sessions, and just do a bit of manual therapy on my knee, and didn't give any advice, didn't give any proper exercise program, and I wasted like 2 months of seeing him without any results. And I saw another physio, and I said, I achieved all that things in just a week of just doing exercise and listening to advice.
Mm.
Yeah.
How old are you then?
20.
Okay. So it sounds like it stems from something personal as well, like your own personal experience. Okay. Anything else, Danny? All right. Tyler?
Well, I didn't actually write anything down because I'd be lying if I said I had my what and how at this point, because I'm still so fresh in the fitness industry. I don't even know what even there is to offer.
That's okay.
So
let's talk about it.
Yeah, like obviously there's so much.
Okay, let's strip it back. I already talked to you about this on the phone, but let's talk about it now in a more open format. Why did you sign up to the Set 3-4?
Why? Because I feel like there's a lot of opportunity in it for me. I feel like there's so many different avenues you can go down with this career, and I feel like there's so much potential to grow with just personally and just in life, and like helping other people and all of that.
Why do you care about that? Because you could just, like you live with your parents right now, you could just stay home and just like hang with friends and just like, live off, your dad's got a successful business, one day you're going to inherit that, I assume, Why not choose that easy path? Why are you choosing like the path where you have to do something more difficult and take initiative?
Not really sure. I like self-development. I love doing things on my own. So me being able to do this by myself without my dad's help as well. I'm paying for it. I'm doing all of it myself. He's offered the opportunity there, but I have to go out and do it all myself. which I'm more than happy to do. So that's what I want to do.
When I was going to ask you what your values are, like what's an important value to you, but that's a hard question too, because like some people haven't really thought about that. But is the idea of independence, like that sounds important to you?
Yeah.
Is that important to you?
Yep. Doing my own thing.
Why is that important to you?
Honestly, I haven't really thought that far into it, but
Okay.
it is important to me, yeah.
And what about personal development? With personal development and like constantly growing, like is that something you were exposed to when you were younger? Like how did you come amongst that?
Pretty much just from seeing what my dad's done with his life. So he never used to have much or anything like that, and I sort of just seen how he's steadily grown and done his own thing and developed himself to be and done what he's had to do to be where he's at. So I feel like that was a good model to have and watch. So
You kind of looked at him as like a role model?
yeah, almost like a role model. yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like you want to see what this industry has to offer with opportunities for personal development, growth, career, business, and maybe even so you can then live a life where you're independent of being reliant on other people.
Yeah.
Is that accurate? Am I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's sort of like, you are creating your own business, you are doing your own thing, so.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
I think that's it.
Look, in 6 months' time, we're going to have this conversation again, and we're going to see how the answers change and mold. It'll be very interesting because your eyes will open. All of your eyes will open to see all the opportunities. And I love this because, Tyler, I hope you don't feel like you have to have this. It's okay to not know. How about that? I'll just leave it there. It's okay to not know and like figure it out. Like particularly coming from like, how old are you now?
20.
Right. Like, dude, like, you got a lot of time. But this is also an opportunity to be efficient with that time and to figure out, okay, what path is best for me right now? So we're going to find that out. Mike?
My what is...
I really like this because we talked about this on the phone. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you mind sharing that stuff?
No, not at all. My what is to work with the LGBTIQ community and to basically break down the barriers of what a gym is to people who aren't, say, straight white men and pretty confident in the gym. So in particular, I'd like to work with trans people because I think there's a real beauty in sort of, like I said, harnessing your mental growth to a physical growth. And I think there'd be a lot of opportunity for me to learn in that space because it would be very different goals. I'd imagine if you're a woman wanting to transition to become a man, you'd want a certain type of program and then you'd have to factor in the hormones and things like that. So I see it as, from a business point of view, a bit of a gap in the market, but from a values-based point of view, it's just something that I think I could help people with to make them become their best version of themselves.
Yeah.
It's definitely finding a niche, isn't it?
Mm.
That's what they say when this industry is finding a niche. That's when you make the most successful.
Yeah.
It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, well, I guess, you're not in part of the subculture or whatever, you don't know how they get affected. But,
Yeah, well, I've never stopped to think even how they would feel or
Imagine the marvellous.
The fact that you've just mentioned that's made me open up my mind and I'm just sitting here spinning out. I'm like, yeah, right.
Yeah, and I think insecurity, which we've all spoken about, I think that's interesting because I guess the antithesis to that would be security, which you could probably reword as safety. So I guess the gym has to then become a safe space. You're going to feel secure about that. The gym has to be a safe space for everyone. So that's kind of my ambition.
Have you been in environments growing up? This is a leading question, and it's probably has an obvious answer, but it sounds like you've been in environments, or have you been in environments where you've felt that insecure, unsafe, and just not comfortable? Is that where it comes from?
Yeah, and most gyms in my experience are like that. So I've done powerlifting type training and stuff like that, and with a group of guys who are showing porn and stuff. And it doesn't bother me, I'm not put out by that kind of stuff, but we're training with 2 other girls, so in the group, so I've always got a mind where I'm kind of like, hang on, you're going to feel really uncomfortable in this situation. And the gym itself, to get through the front door for a lot of people is a really, that's an act of bravery beyond anything we can imagine for a lot of people. So I think, just doing my bit to break down the barriers there, and it comes with it's not just about wanting people to be included into a space, it's about educating other people as well. Because I don't think people by nature are mean-spirited. I think they just misunderstand things and they're a bit confused about things they don't understand. So the more you can kind of shine a light on that and bring it into the mainstream, the better everyone is, I think.
That's great. So there's an education element to the wider population as well?
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sort of one of those people where I'd be like, you know, say, well, if I can do it, anyone can do it. You know, there's no trick to it. It's just about having the resources there and making sure that people know they're there.
So does that sound like then? Do you want to set an example for others around you who maybe didn't or don't have the confidence to step out?
Yeah, that, and I think I can do it in a crafty way in Ballarat because there's a few bigger gyms that compete. And most of them are sort of businessmen, so you just go to them and say, you're missing out on a whole market here. There's a whole demographic you can come and sweep up.
Speak their language.
Yeah, exactly.
That's smart. And particularly is what interests me is it's a very contentious subject of trans people competing in competitions with male or female divisions, right? And so there becomes like, I'm going to plant a seed for you. This is really important to take emotion out. Because some people could say you're coming from a
vested.
Maybe. I was going to say bias, but it's like it's a personal experience. But if you could find a way to communicate and take the emotion out, the bias out, your gender out, because when it comes to physiology, things are much more black and white.
Yeah.
Okay? And so there's things we can measure. There's 50 to 100 years of research and understanding of human science that we understand the physiological differences between what happens in utero, childhood, infancy, childhood, puberty is really like, you're going to really have to now understand. If that's something you want to go down, right now you have to understand how the hypothalamus, pituitary, gonadal axis functions in changing and triggering puberty, because you're going to then see the differences between physiologically bone mass, endocrine system, etc., etc. So I have something I can send you actually on that, or we might cover it in the future. But if you could come at it from that perspective of like, here's what happens, here's what changes, here's the evidence, then we can suddenly bring a lot more clarity to this conversation, and then we can create spaces with clear defined boundaries. So everybody can communicate and operate with more respect and understanding.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think in Australia it's a wise thing because our culture is so rooted in sport that it is almost our national religion. Mm-hmm. So if you want to make broader change in society, hence why you have the AFL doing pride matches and things like that, because you want to set the example from the top. So whether or not the Paralympics is interesting to look at, because you could then say like perhaps gender diverse people, you could call them disabled if you wanted to in a way, or maybe you then set up your own league for these people then to compete on an even playing field. So my ambition might be to work with like the Powerlifting Federation to try and get trans representation in their competitions or something like that.
There you go. There's a lot of opportunities and exciting opportunities where you can really facilitate a lot of change, positive change in people.
Yeah, and there's a lot for me to learn in this space as well.
Totally. That's exciting. Yeah. But again, you guys don't need some grand, like, world-changing thing. Like, I think that could be. But it's fine. Like, whatever your version of it is, respect that. What else?
So, I might need a bit of help like Tyler, but basically, my why may not be as deep as everyone else's.
It's fine, man.
Which I guess is fine. But it's just,
I was going to say, but I was about to say, we're not as fucked up as me, mate, so don't stress.
I didn't mean to say that.
We've got a few more years.
But my why is more just like, I mean, I'm 22, I've tried out a few jobs, I've done a degree, I've worked, in an office, I've done jobs, and I've just never liked anything. I've never enjoyed it, I've always dreaded going to work. So and I'm like to myself, I've been training for about 6 years and I've never hated it. From the first day till now, I've always loved it. I had a gap where I didn't train for 2 years. That's when I hated it. You know, I didn't like not going to the gym. So it's been a happy place. And then, you know, I worked with the PT, been working with the PT for a year and a half. And I was always inspired by like the work she does and like how she trains and like, cause I'm not good friends with her as well. So I'd see what she does and I was always like inspired and interested. I'm like, mate, and then I thought about it one day and I'm just like, this is something I could genuinely enjoy. And I'm not gonna lie, the money factor is motivating as well. I'm like, I can genuinely enjoy and also make some good money out of it if I'm good at it. Because I believe that if you're passionate about something, then the money will just come in anyway. Because if I'm passionately doing that job, because I love the gym and I love helping others and I love lifting weights or whatever, I'll be good at it. So basically, coming back to the start, just looking for something I can be passionate about and just feel like PT is something I could enjoy. Because I want to get up and be excited to go to work. I've never felt that.
Did you write that down?
Well, no.
That's a pretty damn strong reason, if you ask me.
No.
Dude, you're telling me that so far in your life, you haven't found, you've done it quite a bit, you've tried quite a bit, and so far you haven't found anything that really like energizes you.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And that whole thing you were bringing up about yourself, it actually made me realise it when I read your thing. The whole like the confidence thing, and it's just like, I've never felt like I'm good at something,
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, I think I'm good at lifting. I love lifting. I love training. I love being in the gym, and that's where I'm always confident. Like, get what I mean? So I'm like, for my own time, I'm very confident. As a trainer, I'll probably feel the same, and I'll probably feel confident about my job, you know? Yeah.
You reminded me of me when you said I tried all these things and I haven't found the thing.
Yeah,
So I'm glad you saw
and I
that
was losing
connection.
confidence, because like, I did a whole fucking degree. I went in an office job, and I sucked at it. I was shit. Like, I did it, but I was never motivated, never loved it, dreaded waking up and going to work. It was just shit. And like, and you did it for a much longer time than I did. I did it for about a year. I just got over it. I'm like, I can't do this shit. I got out, and then I did like things here and there, and just never enjoyed anything. You know, eventually you want to find something that you really, like I said, I just want to wake up, be excited to go to work. I never had that feeling. I really want to know how it is.
Dude, that's a pretty strong drive, man.
Oh, thanks. I don't know. I didn't know I was going to say all that.
That's why having someone to reflect and ask questions of and to communicate to like a conversation can be very valuable. So I would highly encourage that you guys in your own space at home, like write about this, like write it down, just like before you bed, like just get a blank piece of paper, a journal, a diary, and just note it down. Because once it's down, you can articulate something, and you can much better than sometimes than, and it's on paper, and you kind of cement it down. So that's great, Mariah. Something that triggered you to say something. If I think of it, if it comes to me, I'll bring it up. But Andrew, I feel like we've talked, like we've quite dissected where your roots come from. But is there anything you would like to add or comment on after hearing the other guys?
Yeah.
Yours is definitely strong. It has emotional weight to it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess it does, yeah. That's once you get to know me, you know, that's just me. Like everything I do is fucking emotional. I'm just...
You wear it on
Oh,
your sleeve.
hard on the sleeve, yeah, massively. So, yeah, but, no, pretty good. I'll bring it up as I go along.
We'll learn more later.
Yeah.
How did you get into the gym? Like, what was it about the gym that made you use that as a way to overcome your other stuff?
Well, the funniest thing is, like, I was at home just doing sit-ups, push-ups, dumbbells, you know, bands, and just fucking around, jumping online and looking things up, and then trying to build up the confidence to actually walk into the gym. I finally went in and signed up at, like, was it Snap Fitness? And I'd start training there at like 11 o'clock at night, hiding from people. So I'd just train at night time.
Because there was not many people there.
No one there.
Yeah.
No confidence, you know how to use the machines and do this and that. But my physical appearance was what I wanted to change, that to answer the question, sorry. So I was insecure. I was skinny as fuck, hated it. I was 73 kilos. So this is only like, what was I, 33? Yeah, just didn't like my appearance. Hated my teeth. Basically anything. I just woke up in the morning and went, this is it. I hate my life right now. And I was right at the end of it, so I just went, bang, no more drinking, no more smoking. Got to start gym. You know, my teeth were fucked, bang, teeth surgery. Like I just started going through it all, get braces, and just changed everything. You know what I mean? I wrote a list, put it just like this, bang. Did it when I was blind drunk. Fucking, well, when I say blind, when I say I was an alcoholic, you guys would go, that's not alcohol, whatever, maybe. Well, my mates still drink that same way. But when I say alcoholic, this is when you go and see someone, they say you have 3 drinks a day, you're an alcoholic. I was drinking ridiculous. Like I drank 18 cans every night for probably a month towards the end, before I was nearly ready to drive the car off the road. You know what I mean? Like I was just that last month was a killer. So I wrote everything down, put it in the drawer, and no shit. 12 months later, I ticked that off. I got the block of land. You know what I mean? It was just that was it. I just woke up in the morning and that was it. I was going to change my life. But
yeah, that's great.
So that was it. Basically, come from my appearance, my insecurities, and yeah, I've never looked back.
Good on you.
Every time I sort of do a little, you know, shut down or whatever, I just go back to that moment of, yeah, you change yourself. Like, biggest saying I think for me was change nothing, nothing changes. So yeah, it's one of my favourites. And yeah.
So intuitively, you just knew that sort of like you wanted to work on your body to kind of get you.
Yeah, I just wanted to put on more weight. I was sick of being called skinny, like all the time. Just so that was it. I just started doing that, and things changed. Like it sounds very dramatic, but that's reality. That's what it was. But I was like very, very good at sports. I was captain in the footy. I'm not trying to brag and give you. You probably sound sitting there looking at me going, "Fuck, he was down and out." Blah blah blah. I've been running jobs since I was a second year apprentice. Like been in it 21 years. So I've always been at the high end of everything. If that makes sense. But no one would know what I was going through. They've all looked at it and just went, "Fuck, a successful person." But I wasn't. I was fucking struggling big time in the background. You know what I mean? So you just really do not know what people are going through. But I wouldn't lead on that either. I wouldn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
You know, if someone would mention, you know, a bit flat or down or whatever, I'd be there to support them. I'd know exactly what they're going through.
Well, you've got that empathy you can bring.
Yeah,
all the way,
100%. But then I wasn't afraid to change it either. Like, I went and seen professional help. Yeah. Just counsel to bounce things off bits and pieces. But yeah. Anyway.
Have you heard of fuck up nights?
No.
Fuck up nights, sorry I'm taking over there. Big CEOs and things run these nights where they talk about their failures. And they're really good.
I'm interested in this. I love this.
They're people you think of just, you know, the most successful, bulletproof people that just got to the top no matter what.
Often most of these people are the most fucked up people.
Had a huge setback, they've had to overcome something. And my personal belief is it's that overcoming that builds character.
100%. Yeah, agree. Yeah, character, alright.
Oh, good on you. I'm pleased that you're here to tell that story.
Yeah, 100%. We've got 2 beautiful cheeky monkeys that can please too, so.
There you go. How old are your kids?
10 and 12. Yeah.
Fun age.
They are. They're really good. They actually look after me now, so it's alright.
Who looks after them when you hit?
So,
the mum?
No, they live with their mum. I have them, well actually, it's another story, but yeah, I have them every second weekend. I pick them up during the weeks every night after school and do all that. Their mum and I get along really well, still good friends.
Good.
So, yeah.
That's good. Nice.
We are the exception, yeah. So it's not too many people.
It's a good exception.
Yeah, no, I love it. We still got we've got mad respect for her. She's an awesome girl. We just unfortunately didn't work it out, you know what I mean? Still love each other, but just can't live together, you know what I mean? We don't, she's got a partner and yeah, we get on well. Life's good, kids are good. Life's still good.
Good. And now it's even getting better with this business.
That's it, hopefully.
Alright.
If I don't bore everyone to fucking death, I'm going to come in next week.
It's interesting, it makes...
No, it's genuinely interesting.
That's alright. As long as you find that, yeah. I'm happy to talk.
It's your real story.
It is.
But now to Daniel's. Tell us, what's your what, how, why?
Yeah, so what is running, weightlifting, nutrition and mindset? So for me, it's all actually linked together. I know too many people that have started running over the years and 6 weeks later they have major injuries or they have major issues because they're not doing any strength work alongside it.
Yeah.
They're just literally going out and running and you just deteriorate your body so much if you're not actually activating properly beforehand. So that's essentially one. How it's through a holistic approach to based on timeless pillars of fitness, nutrition and mindset. is sort of where my basis comes from. Another part of it is I've always loved what Ross Edgley does in terms of he tries everything on himself and then writes about it. I do the same thing. So anything that I've done over the last 10 years, which I've pretty much been programming for myself, has always been documented and written. So that's a big part of, I guess, one of the things that I want to do. And then for me, my why, obviously going back through the questions, stems from high school. So I would have been about 50 odd kilos in year 10 at high school at my height than I am now. So I was nothing but skin and bones pretty much. Was the person that got picked on every day by everybody. Got into the gym, went to about 65 by the time I was finished year 12. At that point, I umpired football, went through and did VFL level umpiring, and was around that professional sporting environment and everything like that, and saw how, I guess, the body works differently for different people. I was, at that stage, third heaviest on the list in my final year that I was there, and I weighed 76 kilos, and I was the third heaviest, which is just insane. Now when I think about and from where I am now, I look at it and I just go, it's insane how different I was from being a 16-year-old to that was when I was 21. And that growth, and that was pretty much off my own education. So in trying things out, that ended up in me having an ACL repair 12 months after that, which I then gave away running for 2 years and had to learn how to come back into running. And that's really what I want to be able to part on to people, is people that aren't runners and haven't run for a long time, how to actually develop and become a runner. Because it's something that doesn't really cost you a hell of a lot of money. You don't necessarily need to have a gym or anything like that, but it's so beneficial to everybody to be able to do it. So, yeah.
So again, there's a personal experience that is tied to with feeling frustrated, injured, to then helping people who have felt the similar types of emotions and frustrations of rehabbing themselves. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Here's a little, I don't know if anyone's observing. One thing that I've learned that's really important in communication is, for most of you, I have summarized your point of view. I've tried my best to summarize it in a succinct 1-2 sentence answer of the whatever 1, 2, 3 minutes of talking you guys have done. If you want people to feel like they're being heard, and really importantly that you're acknowledging what they said and you've actually understood what they said, repeat back and summarize what they told you. The client you're doing if a client is talking to you and they're telling you their story, they're telling you their why, try and do the same. If someone's trying to, girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, like they are telling you something important to them that maybe you didn't communicate as well as you could. This bothered me because X, Y, Z. I didn't appreciate that. Everyone's had it. So, okay, got it. No, you don't got it unless you can repeat back exactly and summarize their point of view and see it from their perspective. So once you, and that's how you test yourself if you're listening, if you're actively listening. If you can't summarize and repeat their point of view, then maybe we need to work on some more engaged listening, active listening. It's not always what I say or what people say, but rather what they do and who they are. So that's something I wanted to point out. That's how to influence and influence people type stuff.
That's what was going through my head when you were saying it.
It's a great book. I'll put it in the WhatsApp. See, there you go. Look, we could keep going, but I got to be respectful of the commitment and time. And lastly, we were talking about, we could keep doing this. We could. But what's important, you turn a 15-minute check-in into an hour, is that now you lose your boundaries. You now undermine the boundaries that you set. And it's important that we have made a commitment to each other and we respect that. So with your check-ins, like Ben is a great example, our coach is a great example. He has 24 clients back to back to back to back. If he just wanted to over-deliver and just wanted to make sure everybody had every question answered, then he would be doing a disservice to the other people. I would be doing a disservice to you guys. So I think that's important to consider.
Very clear, still keep the business boundaries at the end of the day. I think 100%. Otherwise, everybody's afraid you don't have your own time.
Yeah, you undermine your own professionalism. Now, there is more to do, obviously. The most important stuff that I think is the critical, well, no, this is very important. Establishing a why from the beginning to really talk to you guys, get to know you guys, right? So you guys get to know me, what I'm about, or at least where I come from. I mean, I haven't talked about my background of experience. You can read that on my website, or you can ask me personally if you want to know. But I think this stuff and starting at this point where we can just is important because it's going to enable us to learn more effectively as we go along, communicate and connect better. And so it was great to meet all of you, and I'll see you guys every Saturday, 12 p.m. Thank you all for being so attentive, and I really enjoyed the energy you guys gave and the questions and how you guys asked each other questions. Don't say sorry, keep doing that. This is an interactive community experience. It's like a family. It's like you guys can run the class too. But yeah,
so
I'm
it
running.
feels like we did. Well, I did anyway.
Boundaries, I'll step in when I need, but at the same time, it's if you guys have curious questions of each other or me that are off topic, ask. If you guys have feedback, criticism, you disagree, there's going to be shit that you know that I don't. There's going to be stuff that I know that you do, or you don't. So, where that comes from me is imposter syndrome. I don't feel like I'm good enough, so I want to make people feel like they're at more of we're at the same level. So just so you know where that comes from. We can dissect myself psychologically maybe more another time. But the roots are deep, my friends.
Yeah, I reckon we're going to need a couch set up over
there. Oh no, lay down, your turn.
Oh, it's
fucking awesome. It's good.
So I'll hang back at the end of every class if anyone's got any questions, comments, or just other stuff they want to talk about. Otherwise, you guys are good.
All right. Well, awesome to meet you, boys. Thank you very much.
Around next week.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Nice to meet you, bro.
Good boy.